Hello there, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it's going fine. Been a very busy day. Lots of stuff going on. So that's all right. It's just my son is getting ready to leave on a big trip, and so we've been rushing around trying to make sure he's ready to go, and then we had other stuff to do for, around the house and stuff. Just busy.
And for those who are worried, we are absolutely going to be discussing Starfleet Academy today. It's the finale, and we're going to go over this episode, and we're going to do it right out the gate this time, because I know that a lot of people have really been tuning in for these streams because they want to see what we have to say about Starfleet Academy, and we are going to do that right now. So we're going to get started with that, and I guess is this the first frame of it, Professor?
No, actually, it does start. We get the the title of this episode, which is stupid. We'll get to that later. But no, it starts out with a flashback with his mom, Caleb's mom, having a panic attack, basically, and flashing back to everything that happened before. And then we do find out briefly, just real quickly, we do find out that they've been able to punch a hole through the field. Of course, I don't quite understand that they established that this field is there to detect if they cross it and the mines go boom. But apparently it's also blocking all communications. They don't really explain how those two things are related, but they do say here, we've managed to punch a hole through, and you've got about 2 minutes to talk to the admiral or whatever. And then she takes about 45 seconds to finish up her conversation here, and then goes back to the bridge, and they talk on the bridge for about 2.5 minutes. So they can't even keep their timetable straight. But they're talking to the admiral, and they talk to they had to fit this lady back into the show for the next for the final episode, right? For some reason,
it's funny though. It's like they didn't have contracts for them for some of the episodes. So Paul Giamatti, last episode, they kept talking about him, but you only see him appear now because they didn't want to pay him to be in another episode. He probably had a 3-episode deal. So you saw him in episode 1, you saw him in episode 6, and now you saw him in the finale. Do you get what I'm saying? You couldn't see him anywhere else because they didn't want to pay him. And it's the same with Tatiana Maslany. Her they even had for 2 episodes. They had her for the premiere, I guess, and for the finale.
Yeah. Here they established
they had 3 episodes with her too, because if you think about it, Maslany appeared in the first one, in the 9th one, and in the 10th one.
Yes.
So those two have 3-episode contracts. I'm trying to think, this Lieutenant Commander Thought, how many times did we actually see her?
It had to be less than 5 episodes.
So she had either
she
3 or 4, 3 or 4. I think less than 5. She either had a 3 or 4 contract, whatever. And you'd think that with all of these cutting corners and their $10 million an episode, there would actually be something that you're like, okay, we know why they had to cut these budgets here, but there's nothing that justifies these budget cuts. Not that I even care, but you know what I'm trying to say? It's so ridiculous and stupid. Yeah. But go on. Sorry, you talk.
No. So we're going back and forth here with the Admiral and Lieutenant Thought here, talking about what's exactly happened. Basically, reestablishing everything we learned in the last episode. And look at there. Yeah, we get to see the here's the mines that are supposed to be surrounding Federation space. Now, there's been a lot of online people defending the show, bitching and whining, people hating the show, bitching and whining about these mines because, frankly, it's a ridiculous idea. But they say here that there's hundreds of mines.
Well, that couldn't work. We came to the conclusion, and especially you explained it to me, and I agreed. It has to be millions, maybe even billions. You know what I mean? What do you mean you have a few hundred mines?
So there's a few hundred mines. Of course, that's completely missing. The size of it. The people arguing online are saying that Federation space in the future is only 50 light years wide. It's not 1,000 light years like it was in in the previously established stuff, which doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it's very hard to actually make out any of the planet names here. If you could probably have some kind of scale as for how, exactly how large each of these are, but they're trying to say that each of these squares is a sector, which a sector is a cubicle, 20 light years, essentially is what it's been established in canon. And that if that's true, then this is only like 100 light years by 100, maybe 90 light years or something. It's a tenth of the size of space that it was before. But again, if you were to look at this and try to figure out what was the distance, you can actually see down here is Beta Z, and then up here is supposed to be Earth somewhere. So it's really weird. Here's the thing. Kurtzman doesn't care. His writers don't care. They just make up this crap. They don't actually care if it actually seems feasible. They don't care if it seems ridiculous that suddenly now Federation space is a tenth the size it used to be. None of it matters to them, right? They just want to make up their silly story. But yeah, if it were the size that, it had been in the past, or close to the size it had been in the past, then it would be millions of mines they would take to cover this space. They also, some of the people online are arguing that if this is a sector, these mines are covering 18 light years across, which again, that would make no sense whatsoever. They established when they introduced these Omega 47 that it's essentially the same, has the same destructive power as the original Omega, which was able to detonate and cause damage one particle, a radius of around 3.5 light years, which means 7 light years across. Right.
Right.
And then if you were to, make sure those overlap a little bit, whatever. So yeah, no, the idea that this would be able to destroy somewhere between 18 and 20 light years of space, almost an entire quadrant, or not quadrant, but an entire sector at once, is absurd. But anyway, let's move on. The whole thing with making a fence around the Federation is so stupid.
Yeah,
so massively dumb. We find out here that there is going to be that if this explodes, there would be a massive number of ships that would be, or not ships, planets that would be destroyed. Billions and billions, hundreds of billions of lives would be lost. And they bring up Discovery. So at the very least, they close this plot hole. I was actually okay with that, although they had to bring up Discovery to do it, which made me gag a little vomit, little bile coming up the back of my throat. But they mentioned Discovery, and they said, well, can't they use their mushroom drive to jump around? They're like, no, these mines somehow disrupt this mycelial network and they can't get through, or something. Whatever. It's so dumb. Stupid mushroom engine.
Anyway, explain this to me, because I'll tell you the truth. I don't really watch Discovery. I watched initially, and I just stopped watching it. What do they mean with this? What's this mushroom thing?
Okay, so it's established early on in Discovery. They have a very special type of drive that allows them to travel through what they call the mycelial network. So mycelium is a fungus, right?
Okay.
But there's these crazy space. It's like this subspace fungus that grows all over the universe, and they can use the ship has a special drive that has spores, has connections to the mycelial network. So they have the spore drive that allows their ship to disappear into a layer of space with this space fungus network, and they can go anywhere and then just appear wherever they want. So they can travel hundreds of light years in seconds, right? It's J.J. Abrams BS is what it is. It's that kind of crap that's well, we don't want to have to worry about actual rules. We don't want to have any kind of actual science here. Let's just make up magical BS so that we can just pop from one place to another, just like J.J. Abrams did in the second, Star Trek movie Into Darkness, where he's oh, let's just invent transwarp teleporting, so you can hop in a transporter and it'll send you 300 light years or something. It's ridiculous. It's absurd.
Sounds absurd.
Oh yeah, it's dumb. The stupid mushroom drive, spore drive thing was always just drove me insane. So dumb. So yeah, at least they call that out. They're like, discover, because otherwise that would be a big plot hole. They're asking them who they have on the ship so that they can, maybe mount some sort of counterattack or something. And she's like, we got like 5 people here. It's like nothing. But establishing essentially that now that this network, these minds are all controlled with a single signal, just one very specific signal. And if they can root that signal out, then your favorite character and mine, Caleb, can hack into it because he's the best hacker ever.
Of all time.
And he'll be able to hack into it, and then he'll be able to control the minds if we do that, right? So it's
ridiculous, yeah.
They are they're going to figure out how to get into that, and they're going to try and get back to where they need to go, but there's a plasma leak, so they can't go to warp. So they're just going to travel at impulse. That would be like you saying we need to get to the other coast tonight, but instead of taking a flight and getting there in 2 hours, we're just going to walk. And it's going to take us 6 months. Like there's no reason for you to go anywhere. Literally, just stay put. I'm just going to go like, I'm not going to get on the plane. I'll start walking. It's fine. It's just dumb. Let's see. Oh yes. They mentioned that, they could, they're going to get attacked by the Venari Rawl and, our villain here, Paul Giamatti. And so they're going to hide. Remember in the last episode where the students hid out in an airlock because the sensors on the ship don't work when you change the air pressure a little bit.
Right, that stupid thing that was already annoyed me last episode. Now again, they come back with this stupid.
So this time
shit.
they're going to hop in there, and they're going to hide the students by putting them in this airlock, and then changing the air pressure.
I really don't understand this stupid thing with the airlock and the air pressure. It was so random and felt like so unearned when they introduced it. You know what I mean? They're just like, it was such a random out of left field with no even planting and payoff for it. They're just like, oh, like, she's like, how did you get on this ship? Well, we did 0.29, like more air pressure.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, great. And that was it. That was their explanation. Like, there was nothing at least show that they discover it, that they learn about it, that they, in an earlier episode, they discovered a flaw. Do anything. Even like the dumbest, stupid planting. Just plant anything. Do you get what I mean? It was out of left field. They're just like, oh, don't you know that when you do the airlock, it's this and this? And she's like, wow. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, it's just, that seems like a flaw or something.
What a design
we should
flaw.
Fix that.
It's like, no shit. What do you mean what a design flaw? Do something. What? Suddenly it just exists out of thin air? Never mind. Go on.
So they're gonna hop here into the airlock, and they say basically, she's saying, well, while we do this, you might feel dizzy or off balance, something like that. 0.29% air pressure difference. You're going to have more of an air pressure difference from the top of Pike's Peak to the base of Pike's Peak. Like it's not going to bother you at all. Like 0.29% difference in pressure. Like it's, and then
right.
and then they make it out. They talk about like, you're wasting your breath, and our breath or whatever. They didn't turn off the air. They just changed the air pressure. So no one's going to
seem like she's in total recall and they're missing air. Like,
they're going to suffocate.
Yeah, the truth is they just changed the air pressure by 0.29. It's nothing. It's like, sometimes you go to a different country and like maybe the air pressure is different there. I don't think that 0.29% means anything.
Yeah. I mean, if it happened very, very suddenly, I'm sure it could be disorienting, but it's not.
But even so, isn't 0.29 really like a very kind of small?
It's incredibly small. It's not even a percent difference in atmosphere.
It's
right?
not like even
So
like with those guys that go in the ocean and they need to like decompress and all that stuff. I don't think it's anything like that. It's like you said, maybe they get a little bit of like woozy for like 2 seconds.
yeah, it's absurd. So they make a big deal out of this, and they have their conversation here, and he says something to Caleb in Klingon, and he understands it. He doesn't speak Klingon. Uh, Whatever.
Did they try to
It's
establish at some point that he knew it, maybe he was on some planet or something, or they never even attempted this? He just knows it now and that's it.
That's ridiculous. And here's the other thing that's ridiculous. Remember, they're being attacked by other ships, right? They've got other ships that are coming in that are going to attack them. This whole thing with the with them being in the airlock, and that the like the ship's sensors don't detect them when they have the pressure. That's their ship's sensors.
Another ship may see it differently, right?
So another ship's sensors would still be able to detect them.
That's true.
Changing the air pressure doesn't stop everyone from ever.
Absolutely, absolutely. I thought to myself that when I saw it that I didn't understand why this stupid thing that was quote unquote a design
Yeah.
flaw on their own ship, why it would interest somebody else's sensors.
Yeah, and apparently also they can detect when someone is going to transport down to the second. But it takes several seconds for them to transport, even though every time we've seen it happen in the show, it's instantaneous because they're incoming transports in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and then they transport, and he beams right in to the captain's chair. So apparently he was sitting before he transported.
That's weird. And the other thing is like he automatically, and again, Paul Giamatti is a good actor, but he's all wrong for this role. It's written very poorly for him, so I can't completely put it on him. But maybe with the lack of a screenplay, he tries to ham it up so much, and he's like, "Come on, you knew it would be me on this chair."
Yeah, and he's like looking at the camera too. He's like talking to the audience. You
This
knew
is
it was
like
gonna
so
be me in this
cringe.
chair all the time. Yeah, even though at the beginning of the season he didn't know anything about this ship. Like
Didn't know anything. He like
it's not
I
like he
don't even
helped build it or
understand
something.
the arc surrounding this character, you want to call it that, is weird and out of left field. Like nothing makes any sense. Okay, he was gone for like a gazillion years, had nothing to do with them. Then Caleb sends the message. Then he's like obsessed with like this ship all the time, and like every stupid thing he does doesn't even make sense to me. He's supposed to be this badass villain, but to me, he's like the dumbest, goofiest, and stupidest villain I've ever seen. He's
He's
almost like a
terrible.
he's like the Elmer Fudd of like, Star Trek. He's so stupid. And then he's my favorite girls, my 2 girls are here.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
understand. What
He
is
doesn't call her his bestie at least this time around. But yeah,
no, but
he sees them.
it's very clear that they want him to be the representative of like, male asshole. You know what I mean? He uses her. He's a dick here, he's a dick there. Even this whole thing with Tatiana Maslany, she's like, she's the victim. By the way, I want to tell you something. Initially, when she appears here, and this really, really bothered me, I think it's here where Admiral Poopy and he says, "I'm so sorry, Miss Muir." And then like Holly Hunter is like, "If I could give you a ship now," or he says it, I don't know, "I would give you a ship now to leave, but we can't do that." Why would you give her a ship to leave? She's a fugitive. She is an accomplice in a death of a Starfleet officer. Why would she be given a ship? Why are you kissing her ass? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care that she did have food or didn't have food. At the end of the day, she was an accomplice. A Starfleet officer died. There's no reason to kiss her ass. Why is it that they have to be walking on eggshells around her and she's the victim? Do you get what I'm saying? Did you notice that?
Yeah. There's
annoys
so
me.
much about this is so
No,
messy.
and the final thing I'll
So
say
bad.
is that I thought this, and I'm like, why don't they care? And later they made it even worse because Holly Hunter is like, I knew the guy that died, and you helped. If not for you, he wouldn't have died. And I'm like, exactly, you stupid bitch, exactly. Then why are you kissing her ass? She is a fugitive that was involved in the death of an officer, a colleague of yours. You were friends with a guy that died, and you're sitting around kissing this lady's ass. Why? Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but go on. I just needed to unload that.
Yep.
Continue, Professor.
Oh, no, it's all right. While you were busy doing that, I had to go take a screenshot of this and post it on X with a vomiting emoji next to it, because this is just, oh my God. Watching this last night, I literally had to stop the show and just like come back to it a few minutes later because this was so cringe. Oh my God. Come on, I made a funny
He was so
laugh.
annoying. He was
Oh,
so annoying. He's not like a menacing villain. He's just like a douchey weirdo villain.
it's
It's like
awful.
it's not.
Just awful.
You want a little more sophistication in your Star Trek villains. This guy is like the dumbest, stupidest villain on the face of the earth. Sorry, go on. And just so
So,
you know, I just want to say one thing. I started watching it yesterday, and then I fell asleep. I don't know why I fell asleep, and then like I woke up and I DM'd you that I fell asleep, and I'm going to try to watch it now. I put it on again from wherever I thought I fell asleep, and then I fell asleep again. And then I was like, I fell asleep on my couch. I think I woke up like at 4 a.m. or something, and I just said, I don't care if it's 4 a.m. now. You're going to finish this stupid thing. You're going to finish it now. And then I sat and I watched like until the end of the stupid episode, and then I went to sleep. So I slept twice. Do you get what I'm saying? I needed like it was like I watched it in 3 parts between me falling asleep all the time, having to watch it.
yeah,
But yeah, so
I'm not surprised. I had a hard time paying attention to
this is awful, awful. But go on. Your time is valuable, and I know you have less time today. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
move
No,
on.
that's fine. That's fine. Um, oh, sorry.
What happened?
Yeah, sorry. I lost my tab here. Okay,
It's
there we
okay.
go. Yep. So, yeah, this. Oh, and then he makes another reference to like them being in a trauma loop or something. Like they can't stop talking about trauma. And then they're asking about, oh, how's the ship? And she's like, oh, we're pretty screwed. Yeah, there's like all this stuff going wrong with the engine, and like, yeah, we're just gonna like explode or something. So, like,
So stupid. Yes.
Tignataro, go away. So then they decide that they're gonna do some special training maneuver, and we find out that he's still wearing the same mobile emitter. He's got it tucked under his shirt. I thought he was keeping it in his prison pocket, but he had it tucked under his shirt. Is where he had it, and he's got the same mobile emitter from Voyager. Do you remember from Voyager? I guess you wouldn't because you didn't really watch it. When he gets this mobile emitter is from the 29th century.
Right.
That means that
I know this
this,
because you explained it to me. In the interest of full disclosure, we just did earlier the
yeah,
pilot show. I watched the first season of Voyager, and I kind of fell off. And it's the only Star Trek show out of all the classic shows that I haven't watched in its entirety. I do always say that I have to go back and watch the whole thing. Just for the sake of knowing it. Somehow that first season really didn't speak to me much, but it's definitely better than what we see here. But yeah, I remember you said that, there was an episode that he could get off the ship now because he got
yeah,
this emitter.
he has this mobile emitter that came from the future. They intercept an agent, a time agent who's from the future, and is there to try and fix something that happened in the past. And he gets a hold of this technology, this mobile emitter that now allows the Doctor to move around, right? And so he can upload his program to the mobile emitter and he can move around. The mobile emitter is from the 29th century. They are in the 31st century. So this technology is already 200 years old, out of date. But he's still walking around with it.
That is
200
strange.
years out of date. But
And
he's
then
still got the original one.
Strungun asks if he's a hologram, why is he old? I think that he explains that he made it so that he'll look old or something. There's like a toss away sentence in the first episode. Am I wrong?
Yes, there is. So he says he says something about it got disturbing for other people around me that I wasn't aging or something. But if he's aging this slowly, that over 900 years or something, he's aged this much, like nobody he knows would actually have seen him aging. So it's
I
dumb.
also think though nobody would care. Like,
Yeah.
who gives a shit? Sorry,
Yeah.
Sean, but you know what I'm saying. But go on.
Yeah, no, it's so he takes his mobile emitter and then it descends into the programmable matter goo on the on the control panel there, and then they the Venari Rawl that are around them all start so he gets sort of sucked into the ship, and all the Venari Rawl around them are all start firing on the ship. They start firing on the ship, and then the ship go boom.
But it's not really going boom because
But it's not really going because you can see it's actually a hologram.
It's so stupid. Does this even
Except
make any
that
sense?
for this to work, you can't just have the hologram in the same place that your ship is in. Like the Venari Rawl would have seen their actual ship moving, and the hologram the hologram being in its place. Like it would make sense as a decoy. Like, oh, look, we projected this hologram out here and you can see it, whatever. But they don't do that. Like the hologram is like hiding their ship
Right.
in the
so
same spot. And so all of those weapons would just go right through the hologram and blow up the actual ship.
No, it would hit the ship, and not only that, it's the same thing like with the airlock. Wouldn't their sensors still be able to pick up that there's a ship here?
Yes.
This is so dumb.
It's absurdly stupid. I mean, it takes 2 seconds to just poke holes in it. And so, yeah, the hologram suddenly, that's the thing that's there, and it gets shot and exploded instead of them, except they're still occupying the same space. They didn't go anywhere. And so they're still going to get hit. They're still going to get blown up. It's nonsense. But anyway, they do finally let the cadets out of their hidey hole that somehow none of those ships were able to detect them in there. And they explained that they were able to how they were able to project a hologram is the doctor was able to upload his program into the system, and it used his mobile emitter with the deflector dish to project a what?
I don't even
Like
understand.
the
I didn't
deflector
understand
dish
any of that.
doesn't do that. I mean, there's been a few times they've used the deflector dish to emit other types of energy.
Right.
But
And it's also, it feels
not
like such a
project
strange,
holograms.
It's one of those things that once you introduce something like that, how can you it's like with those kind of holdo maneuvers. It's a stupid thing. What do you mean he's now a hologram? They didn't pick up on their sensors. Like if you can do that, what they did here, then there's no more threats on like Star Trek anymore. You know what I mean? If they can get away with this stupid shit, then like the stakes are low. Do you get what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, we've got a real long episode to plow through here, so let's keep moving.
Let's move.
We have so yeah, they reintegrate the doctor, and something's wrong with him. He's ranting about stuff, and so they say, "Oh, we're gonna send him to the infirmary. Take him to the infirmary. You guys go work on trying to see if you can get him fixed up. We're gonna try and we're gonna try and get the ship back up and working. And if we can figure out this signal and we can connect to the signal, then we can actually bring." Back, we can save all these people, and we can bring the Federation here to help us. They don't know anything about like where these Federation ships are. I mean, last time we heard they were all around Beta Z, right? Which we don't know how far they are from Beta Z, but none of them were like waiting at the border to be like, we're coming. Just bring down the shields and we'll bust in, right? So it's anyway. They are moving on, and this was driving me insane. This whole thing with her, Tig Notaro's character, Jet Reno, whatever, trying to tell them the stuff that they need to do, and she's basically like, she's using all of this as an opportunity to be like a teaching moment. What do you think we should do, cadet? And it's like, holy hell, no! Just tell them what to do so that you can start.
Right. I mean, the thing is,
saving lives.
First of all, as you pointed out, and I think you were the one that pointed that out to me, in that episode that they're doing a drill, I think it was in episode 7 or what? No, it was the one with the one from Discovery that did a theater class with them. They had a drill, and she was sitting in the captain's chair, and she wasn't giving them any orders, and she didn't know why they weren't acting as a crew. And it's like you were saying, well, you didn't make them do anything. You didn't guide them, so why would they do anything? You're supposed to be the captain in this drill. And I said in my video later that if not her being the captain, she needed to take one of the cadets and say, well, you're the captain of this drill. At least let somebody try to run it and then tell the other people what to do, because otherwise, why would they know what to do? You know what I mean? And now she's here and she is supposedly telling them what to do. And then they're like, I captain. And she's like, I'm not a captain.
Yeah, I'm not a captain. Except that, yeah. Oh, not a captain. Fine. Except that by tradition, whoever is in the center chair, whoever is in command of the bridge, you refer to them as captain. That's naval tradition, right? And it's simply to be able to, you're keeping the chain of command. You are, and it simplifies things too, because you don't have to think for a second, oh, do I call them captain or do I call them commander or whatever? Whoever is in charge, whoever's giving the orders on the bridge, you call them captain.
Yep.
And they've actually even discussed this on a different episode of Star Trek. I think it was a Deep Space Nine episode where you have, I think it was Dax who's sitting in the center chair, and they're all calling her, yes, captain, yes, captain. And someone goes, she's not a captain. And then they say, but she's in command, so she's captain.
When
Like,
Data takes over the Enterprise, do they refer to him as captain?
I think they do.
Interesting. I would go back and look at it, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just naval tradition. So yes, they're trying to find, they want to get out and they want to be able to find where they're holding Ake. We find out that they have taken the atrium, this other part of their ship, the wings and the absorbent pads. They've taken this part of the ship, and it's been horribly vandalized. And they are going to, she walks up, she tells her, hey, he's safe. We're going to.
This is so annoying, this scene, I'll quickly say, because she first of all walks and starts saying, he's alive, before she starts hugging. It's like, you dumb bitch, there's like guards all around you. Don't say anything. At least if she hugged her first and whispered in her ear. But the fact that she's saying it from like far away and just kind of telling her that was really weird.
I hated this, Price. I hated this so much.
I did too.
So they're going to broadcast a trial, although it's not really just going to be a trial, because they're going to be, basically it's just going to be emotions. Do you hate her or not, kind of a thing. But anyway, he's airing this on the, I don't know if I can fit this on the screen where people can see this. There we go. This is being aired on the Venari Rawl network. And it has chyrons and a ticker like this was freaking CNN.
So they already started this weird shit, doing like CNN style stuff in that thing with the Klingons and the fugitives in that episode, the third episode, I think, where they're all watching screens like they're watching CNN. And this again, they wanted to introduce the same idea. I would think that 1,000 years in the future, I hope that they're not watching CNN that looks like our CNN.
Yeah, it's a freaking, I'm sorry, a news network that's run by pirates and marauders. it's just so stupid.
It's kind of funny, yeah.
But yeah, and some of the things that they put in the little tickers and everything are so on the nose. It's disgusting. One of them ticked by, I wrote it down. Federation oppressors mass their tyrannical fleet. Tyrant-in-Chief Vance threatens military junta if Federation President Rilak fails to approve his naval aggression.
That's funny.
Terrorist or freedom fighter, learn the true Noose Braca story. More at 2100.
It's funny because like the people writing this show would like absolutely love Noose Braca if he existed in the real world.
It's so bad. Anyway, they start this trial by him saying, "Oh, we were living in our little society where we were mining stuff and whatever, and the Federation was flying over and delivering stuff all the time, but they never stopped for us. They didn't ever bring us anything, so we just got to starve because we weren't, blessed by the Federation. They didn't bring us anything. They just kept flying." And then he says that his dad fired on the ships. And when he did, he fired on those ships with a missile that he made himself, and he missed. And then he says the Federation came back and rained red hellfire all over his little community there. So he decides, he says that there's not going to be really a jury. All the decision is going to be made by her. So she basically, Ake has to convince her that she's not guilty. And so we go back to them trying to fix up the ship and figure out how they're going to get things back. We get an absolutely cringeworthy scene where she goes and she takes her seat on the bridge and says, "I have to pee."
This annoyed me so much. I think this is the first time that I fell asleep because I think I just had like an overload. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. So what happened is that they've been trying to say that like she's captain material. They did that a few episodes ago where they wanted to like fast track her to captain. And now, first of all, look how in the drill, Tig Notaro didn't choose a person to be captain, but now in reality she does. This is what she needed to do in the drill. Somebody had to be the captain. She's like, "You're the captain. You tell the other people what to do." And now like she did that. So I just thought that was kind of weird. But in addition, I hate that they're trying to make this girl seem like she's so great, like she's the obvious choice as captain. Why is she the obvious choice as captain? She's done not one thing in this whole show that gave me the impression that she could be the captain. And you know what's sad? It's not because she's a woman or anything like that. If they would have properly set up this story where for all these episodes she wants to be the captain all the time, but she makes mistakes and they tell her, "Listen, you'll never be a good officer if you don't learn this, if you don't learn that." And then at the end, after like overcoming challenges and being something of an underdog, if at the end she gets here and then she's like, "Listen, this is it. Like, this is what you've always wanted. Now you're the captain." And of course, don't say I'm going to pee, but like let her, like, then she's the underdog. You're all for her, but there is no underdog here. They've been telling her she's the best thing that ever happened from episode 1, and we haven't seen her do one thing that would even justify that title. But never mind, go on.
Yep. So we get back to the trial. She's talking to him about what was his community? What did they do? He says they mined strontium. And so they talk a little bit about that. Again, it's all about trying to convince Caleb's mom that she's good, that what she's doing was beneficial to Caleb, and so on. They go back to them. There's this nonsense thing about him helping her out with the warp engines and plasma flow and whatever, while they talk about like how he's changed since he joined up with Starfleet. And so then she goes on a feminist tirade about how you locked me up and you took me away from my child. And it's like, yeah, because you're a criminal. So you go to jail.
It's not even that she stole something that like was worth $5 and she's like, "I needed a loaf of bread from my family and you put me away for 20 years and it's not proportional." Fine, I would accept that. There is a Starfleet officer that died because she was an accomplice to that crime.
Yeah. She calls very clear attention to that in this in this little thing here where she's like, did you know who that guy was? I knew him. He was, he was a young man. He was, he had a family. He had kids, and he died because of your actions. And then she's like, who fired the shot? Was it you? Was it, him? She says, it was Noose Brackey. She's like, well,
Could you have stopped him?
Could you have stopped him? You were an accessory to this. So, it's like, no, you're not. So you're a mom. Big whoop. That doesn't make you immune from the law. You can still be held accountable for what you do, and so you can't just. It's so bad.
She is an accomplice to a murder, and this show is so kind of far left progressive weirdo in its politics that it's like, for the right reason it's okay to do all of that. That's what they're trying to explain to you. That if it's a situation where you need to steal food or whatever it is, then it's fine to like kill officers. That's what it's trying to say. That's the lesson they're trying to teach. And there's really no like sugarcoating it. That is exactly the agenda. But sorry, go on.
Nope, it's fine. Yeah, they go on, and she's talking about, it's justice. What's justice? Justice would be for you to suffer, and for me to dance on your grave, and all of this stuff. And I want you grieving. That's the only way there's justice, honey. That ain't justice. Okay, that's retribution, not justice. And so you're in a totally different sphere of things here. Justice is about upholding the law and ensuring that.
And this is the ugliest. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say something very, very terrible. This is the ugliest that Tatiana Maslany has ever looked. This frame that you've paused here is the ugliest she's ever looked.
That haircut's not doing her any favors. I'll tell you that much. We get to go back to. The cadets. We get more of Sam. Oh lordy. It's just, I'm not that Sam anymore. I've changed because I have that old life, and then I had a new life, and I'm not the same. And they keep telling her she's a hero, and I'm like, she's not a hero. She's a freaking clown. She didn't do anything. She didn't. They're like, everything that you've come through. She didn't come through anything. She didn't grow through anything. She went back, they reset her, and she had a 17-year childhood. It compressed into 2 weeks, right? She didn't.
Stupid, yeah.
Like, she hasn't come through anything. She hasn't grown. She hasn't, if she's changed, we don't know exactly where that change came from. We get more of the doctor and his ranting, and we figure out that he's trying to communicate something, or they figure that out eventually, that, apparently the doctor knows how to deactivate Omega-47. Seems like that would have been some really useful knowledge 10 minutes ago, or maybe yesterday.
Why didn't he only come up with this now?
Like, and how does nobody else know this? Like, where did this come from? It makes no sense.
It's another one of those out of left. It's the same thing like with the airlock and the 0.29%. There's not even one thing that prepared anybody for this solution. And the thing is that even like the most amateur of writers would have thrown in a toss away sentence earlier that like gives him the idea, at least, or right before he decides he's going to be the hologram spaceship, which was also ridiculous. Somebody says something to him and he thinks about it and he's like, I think I know what to do. And like, at least do something, do the minimum, even if it's the shittiest writing, the shittiest planting, just do anything, the fact that the writers are like, who cares? It'll just be out of left field. It's like, there's something when you do writing that's called like cheating. And sometimes if like a movie does a lot of things great for like an hour, everything is perfect, and you say, well, I don't really know how to do this, let's do a little cheat. Now, the viewer at that point, maybe they'll think it's a cheat, maybe they won't, but if you've built enough goodwill over the movie, maybe they'll let it slide. But there is no goodwill. They have not done the job once. They haven't done one proper setup or any kind of storytelling or any arc or any character development. They've done nothing, and they're just like, that's it, out of left field. Every solution they have is out of left field.
Completely out of left field. Bananas. And so, yeah, apparently there's something called Rubin particles. Rubin.
I was hoping that you'd tell me where that comes from.
It's nonsense. It's out of thin air. Nonsense.
Never heard of it before on any other Star Trek. I'm like, is this a thing? If at least they wanted to try to do Emberberry, find something, say something, but nothing. Couldn't even bother to do that. No Googling, no nothing. They're just like Rubicon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's Rubin particles. Well, there's Rubin particles, and we can use the quarks to change and stabilize omega 47. Again, how did the scientists how did nobody know this? Right? It's yeah.
Who's supposed to be their scientist, by the way?
Sauerkraut and pastrami particles. Yeah, with a little bit of Thousand Island particles on there.
Who is supposed to be their scientist?
I don't know, but it should be, the scientists maybe who were working on omega 47, like perhaps they would know this stuff. Like I don't know. It seems like somebody else in the Federation would have known about this, but the doctor comes up with it while he's ranting and raving about how we're going to stabilize these particles. So they figure out anyway that they can use gluons and these other Rubin particles to somehow stabilize omega 47. It just comes out of nowhere. So they're going to do this. They're going to stabilize omega 47. She goes bounding around in his head. At least she asked for affirmative consent this time. And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna." He's gonna use his emotions, and his connection to his mother to somehow find them in the entire galaxy. So she's so powerful a telepath, she can apparently read people. Excuse me, empath. She's just an empath, not a telepath. She's apparently so powerful that she can read people from sectors away.
That's I didn't understand that either. It's the thing is, I think that back in the day when even when it was Deanna Troi or her relatives or whatever it was, they couldn't communicate with people that are like you said, sectors away. They could never do that. It had to be somebody that's in proximity to you. You can't just use this is like beyond Professor X type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like Professor X using.
Even Professor X, if he did this, you'd be like, man, this is a stretch,
Yeah, he's using Cerebro so that he can reach out across the entire planet, right? Yeah, no, but she's just standing there. She takes her little restrictor thing off, inhibitor.
No, but they said that this inhibitor would be better than the previous one because it would make sure that she won't try to do that kind of stuff again. And this one was easier for her to remove than the previous one.
Yes, but apparently they just they stuck it on her with KY jelly, so it just fell right off. I don't know. So now they've isolated the signal, and so they're somehow using whatever radio signal, the signal that's used to control these things. Somehow across that signal, they are able to manipulate subatomic particles. It makes absolutely no sense. It's nonsense. Phantom Outsider in the chat says Rubin particles were discovered by Admiral Chekhov. He was pouring Russian dressing at the time. Of course, he's a Russian invention. Yes, Rubin particles. So anyway, she's trying to stabilize the particles. She's up there they said, "Oh, it's going to take some time because it's an algorithm. It's not, whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, whatever."
What exactly? How are they running this algorithm on this thing? I'm trying to understand even the logic here.
Again, I don't even understand how they're supposed to be doing this. They're using their radio signal that communicates with the mines, but somehow through that signal, the control signal for the mines, they're able to manipulate subatomic particles across that signal.
I don't even understand.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It's
listen, a lot of times there's what's called technobabble on Star Trek, but at least there's some semblance of something that makes some kind of sense within its own internal logic, even if sometimes it seems a little bit like babbling. In this case, I really don't understand what they're trying to say. the other thing, and this is exactly what I tried to tell you. If, let's say, everything until now in the series was done like to perfection, and at the end you needed a little bit of a technobabble explanation, and maybe it wasn't the best one, you're just like, be like, oh, all right, they did such a good job until now, I'll let it slide. But these guys are the opposite of that. You know what I mean? I will not let anything slide. Certainly not this weird crap.
Yeah. Agreed. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So they want to find a way to sneak up on the Venari Rawl so they can get close enough to hijack the signal, and so they take their ship to warp and then warp it inside a gas giant, which has been done like 3 times. It's like not even a new idea. They did it in J.J. Abrams' Trek. They did it in Picard season 3, I think. Yeah, it's like, anyway, so they're inside a gas giant. Somehow that's going to keep them from being detected, but they're gonna go hide inside the gas giant.
Being detected? I don't know even how this happened in the.
I don't understand. It's been used numerous times though.
But even then, I didn't understand it. I think.
So we get the 2 moms bonding over their trauma.
Hate this part. Go on. This part is infuriating, and it's like, oh, they did the classic, like, quote unquote, like modern Hollywood crap, where like she's again the sympathetic like not sympathetic villain, but she Tatiana Maslany did bad things, but it's only because there was like an evil man there, and that she ended up in those circumstances. And at the end, when 2 ladies talk, they can really bond because they're always victims. You know what I mean? And
yeah. Well, there's so many emotions, and of course, women are in touch with their emotions, and they can then bond over their all of their emotions and trauma.
They have their emotions, and they also like bond over victimhood.
So they're saying, oh, well, she's decided that she's guilty, so she's gonna, she's gonna face justice or whatever. Of course, this isn't justice. They come in, and he goes over there to threaten. He's like, oh, I have to say my piece or whatever about what the Federation means to me. He has his little speech. And
how did he arrive here? He took a shuttle from where? What did he do?
He took a shuttle out of their ship and flew it over there.
Did they have a shuttle, though?
And then the Venari Rawl didn't shoot him down.
But beyond the fact that I don't know why the Venari Rawl didn't shoot him down, how did the saucer? I mean, they separated from the saucer. Did the engineering, whatever that was, did that have a shuttle on it?
I suppose it did. They don't even actually really show him in the shuttle. It's just like he just arrives.
Nobody, they didn't even bother with the graphics or to show or anything. They're just like, trust us, there's the shuttle here. Although I would think that the shuttle would be on the part that they got.
The part that they left behind. Yeah, on the wings. Yeah,
exactly.
So we get this absolutely awful line where they're telling her she needs to hurry to finish up what she's doing, trying to stabilize the Omega particle, and she says, "It's an algorithm, not a pineapple cake. It takes time."
It was the dumbest sentence. I just kind of, the thing is, I feel like I saw so much garbage until this moment that by the time this stupid quote came along, I just was already kind of numb to it, but yeah, this was awful.
Yeah. Well, guess what also takes time? Baking a cake.
True. It does take time.
Okay, of course, maybe they have replicators, except that they've sort of avoided the idea of replicators all the way through this series. So sounds ridiculous.
I told myself that maybe she meant the replicator, but even so, it's a stupid line.
It's dumb. It's dumb. And so, yeah, he's bonding back with his mom. Oh, we always looked at the stars. Oh, but the Academy has been so good for me. These are my friends, and they care about something bigger than themselves. And then he starts yelling, "Oh yeah, they locked him in a cell and they tortured him and they made him memorize all of that crap. He's not being honest and selling any of that." And then she asks Caleb, "Was exochemistry one of your classes at the Academy? What is exochemistry? Does chemistry work differently on other planets?"
I have no idea. I didn't know what it was, but at this point, I just, like I said, the things that came at this late portion of the episode already, it's like so much crap until now. Like, what are we surprised at this point that they're just rambling about nonsense? But you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know what they meant by
chemistry.
exochemistry.
Chemistry wouldn't be. There is no exochemistry. There's not different chemistry on different planets. It's a stupid thing. They could have just said chemistry and it would have been fine. But no, we got to make it space. It's got to be spacey. So they could have just said, "Did you take space chemistry?"
Wait, Estefobos says, "Is a pineapple cake like a coconut tree?" And then Robot had said, "Estefobos, I like that joke." Shout out to both of you.
Well, anyway, they get through. And she asked him about, hey, strontium. Do you know about strontium? And he says, oh yeah. It would get, if it gets into anything nasty and volatile, it explodes. And then she says, and what color are phasers? What color are the weapons that are used by the Federation? He says, oh, well, they're all blue or green. And then she wants to know, what color does strontium burn out? And at the very least, they did get this right. They must have asked ChatGPT what color strontium is when it burns, because yes, it is red. Strontium is actually a frequent element in red fireworks. So yeah.
They finally used Google.
So at the very least, they used some actual science in this.
It took like 10 episodes, and they finally sat down and used Google.
Yeah, but so they point out that, guess what? Your stupid ass dad who built his little weapon and fired it up at Starfleet ship and missed, when it hit the atmosphere and exploded, it caught all of the toxic chemicals and strontium and everything that was in the atmosphere on fire and burned up your damn planet. It was your dad that did it. Which, honestly, I thought that was pretty funny. Oh yeah, your dumbass dad is the one that burned up your planet, you twit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it would have been okay as a twist if everything else was good, but, it's just
I
like,
know.
they haven't earned the idea that something clever happens, if you know what I'm saying. But I know what you're saying also.
Yeah.
It wasn't the worst idea in isolation.
But then he apparently he thinks he's on a MS Now broadcast because he just starts yelling, "It's all lies!" And then she's like, "Yeah, you're just a little kid. All you saw was, what was happening around you. You didn't know. You were just, And so you've never grown past that. You're just an angry child with his finger on the trigger." God, I am so sick of this modern collection of writers price that all they can do is write about the basic like entry level psychology BS that they have learned from their therapists. That's all they can write about. Oh, you're stuck in a state of arrested development. You're still a child and all of this. It's like it's suffering. It's terrible.
Yep.
And then, of course, now all of these all these people who were there, holograms that had, come in to watch this thing. Apparently, you can't just watch the transmissions; you have to hologram in. I don't know. It's weird.
That is weird.
They
could have just watched it on like CNN or whatever. This
VNN. They're Vernari Raw News Network. Yeah. So they all leave. They disavow him and. They're all taken off there, and then, oh no, don't play. And then he pulls out his little thing to set off all the mines and destroy the Federation, and it doesn't work. Omega 47 particles stabilized, and then we get to the worst thing I think I've seen in this entire series.
Is it when Hologram Girl gets all excited?
Sam is screaming and dancing around.
She's
and
like,
whoopee. Look, they put it in the titles. Whoopee. It's
so
100%.
It's so cringe. It's like, They really should have edited this part out.
Oh, it's just suffering. And then, of course, immediately, within seconds of them stabilizing the particle, let's see, or did I miss it?
I think all the Starfleet shows up, right?
Or like hundreds of Starfleet ships show up, like within seconds of them stabilizing the particle. And then they all head back to Beta Z. God, I'm telling you, these ships look like such ass. I'm sorry, all of these new ships, every one of them that they made. There's one that's just a big hoop. It's like a hula hoop. There's all these other ships that have all these other weird shapes to them.
Most of them look like vaginas.
And what's this thing? What is that? Like, I don't understand. It's like, I don't know who they got to design these new ships, but they failed
over there
horribly.
I could say something, but it may offend people. The one that you just pointed at.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it. Say it.
No. It looks like something a woman might use for a little fun, perhaps. Yeah.
That's the one option, but I was going to say that there's also a certain surgery that a woman can put something somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And that surgery then, like, it causes her not to, perhaps conceive, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's what the
some of these are.
The thing is, they put that's part of the surgery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose the 7% viewership I have from Ladies Professor. You know that 7% of our viewers are women, and they probably heard me say that now, and now we probably have like 3% at best.
Yep. Well, so we end up, that's the end of the episode, except that we get a little postscript where we find out, they're going to be having a big ceremony when they get back, that they've all finished their finals and they're all good now. And he's back with his mommy, and she knows that this is the place he really belongs. And, we get one last stupid, idiotic, chime in from the digital dean, because they're back on Beta Z, and he says something about respect all local customs, including when you have to go to weddings, which is a stupid little inside joke. If you don't, do you remember, Price, about Beta Z weddings?
Remind me. They're very sensual or something.
They're nude.
Yes. Okay.
Everyone attending is nude.
I see.
Or at the very least, we saw some versions of it where the bride and groom and like their party are supposed to be nude.
We do have a Rumble rant, $10 from some late guy, Long Island 90. Hey fellas, why are we watching a murder of a good show? This is gore. Also, hey dude Rosef, kidding aside, how you guys doing? We're doing great, and we're doing even better that you came with this Rumble rant of $10. Always good to see you here, some late guy, Long Island 90. I'm still excited that I knew it was Long Island. I knew that.
Yeah. And so now they finish up and they jump into the credits. And this time around, there's special credits, Price, where they put little bios here for each of the characters who are the class of 3196. And then they put little pictures in there of, well, I guess it should be the character, shouldn't it? But instead, it's the actor in there. So if Robot Head's still in the audience, I saw him having some arguments with some people online today about how this, why is this picture this supposed to be of this kid
who's a Klingon? Yeah.
Why isn't he a Klingon?
No, and not only that, when they show Paul Giamatti, they also show him as a kid. Like, why are we seeing Paul Giamatti as a kid?
Paul Giamatti as a kid?
What is this stupid shit It doesn't make any sense. It's
It's
like
supposed to be a yearbook. It's supposed to be like the yearbook,
okay, so if they
right?
wanted to do that, they could have just asked like one of those Grok to just make it look like a Klingon. At least do them like that would have been lazy too, but at least try to do that. They didn't even make the minimum effort. Why and also if like News Braka is the villain, why are we seeing him at all here? You know what I mean? Like this
Uh-huh.
doesn't make sense. This is stupid and it doesn't make sense. It's so weird. I don't know if it's I was on Robot Head stream. I don't know if we meant it came up there. Maybe it came up there. I don't know if like Script Doctor said something about it earlier. But basically, the big question is why would they end an episode like this? This makes people hopeful that perhaps season 2 won't see the light of day because it almost feels like the type of dumb crap that you do when you think that this is done for. You know what I mean? But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just Alex Kurtzman could be this stupid that it just ends this way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I thought this was extremely dumb and putting all of these different characters in here. And they're like, and everyone's like, oh, well, it's cute. Oh, well, see, they're trying to highlight the actors and oh, and they're how much they've grown. And I was like, but they haven't grown that during this series. They haven't changed that, during this series. We don't know these people. We didn't know them when they were children. What are you just trying to make it like, oh, well, see, you can't hate them now because you've seen a picture of them as a kid. Is that what they're trying to do?
I'm so puzzled by this. It makes no sense. It's like see the amount of like of thought I have to put into trying to understand why Kurtzman is doing something stupid. It's like it's very difficult. It's very difficult for sane normal people that use their mind to try to understand why Kurtzman is doing this.
Yeah, it's maddening. But anyway, yeah, this is how they decide to wrap up the end of this series is with this ridiculous showing pictures of actor stuff. And they're not even all pictures of the actors when they're kids either. Like clearly he's not a child.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's a child here. Then what was the point of this?
He's 19, 20
It
years old,
feels like
maybe.
this is a last minute thing.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do and they just said send us the photos. The night before somebody just sent whatever they had on their cell phone and whatever they had that was it.
Yep. And so yeah, that's the end of our season. Unfortunately, my prediction did not come true. I thought Caleb was gonna join up with Noose Braka, and there was gonna be a cliffhanger, but we didn't get a cliffhanger. I'm rather surprised on that. I figure I was certain there was going to be a cliffhanger on this because they were guaranteed a second season, right? So I figured there was going to be a cliffhanger here, and I was really hoping for that because then that would make it even more embarrassing if the second season doesn't get aired. Right. So, but anyway,
The
we
question
didn't
is
get
if
it.
that theory is correct that they made them maybe change the ending because nobody's sure if that second
No,
season will be shown.
nobody's gonna watch this the rest of this crap. So they had to wrap it up. Anyway, yeah, that's our episode, and man, it was. I will have to say, a lot of people were saying, I think it was Chris Gore, a few others were saying like this was going to be the worst of the entire season. I don't think it was the worst. There were definitely episodes this season that pissed me off well more than this one did.
The theater workshop episode
That was
has to be in the conversation for worst. The
oh
hologram girl episode that she's walking around and
yes,
babbling, those
yes,
are really strong candidates for worst of the season.
absolutely awful.
Don't get me wrong, this whole season is a disaster. Every single episode is awful, but like if we're trying to rank within the awful, what's more awful than other stuff that's awful, then I still think that the spotlight on the hologram girl episode and the theater workshop, which was also a very hologram girl driven episode because she was, you know, she was raised by the doctor there. Those two episodes had to have been the lowest of the low.
Yeah, truly, yeah, gotta be. Um, all
I
right,
know you have
man.
to leave early
Yep.
today.
I have to tap out early, unfortunately. I have got to run my son to the airport, so I'm gonna be gone for a while. So, you know what? If you're still streaming and I'm able to get back, then maybe I'll hop back in. But for the time being, I am gonna have to say goodnight. So,
I
thanks,
completely
Price.
understand.
Always
Professor,
have
thank you so
fun
much.
hanging with you. Glad we got to cover the Star Trek episode together. And then yeah, have a good stream, and I will see you a bit later.
All right, I'll see you later,
All
man.
right, man. Bye.
Well, I guess it's just you and me. You and me, I mean you guys listening and myself. Oh, and wait, I think we have CC Karaoke here. I think we have him here. I see him here in the background. CC.
Yes. Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Well, I was listening, and then I was waiting for you to get to the end of that Star Trek segment because I didn't watch the show. I was entertained by listening to your analysis, and then
Well, yeah, it was really something terrible. Honestly, it was just a disaster, this whole thing.
the only Kurtzman Trek I've actually watched was part of season 1 of Strange New Worlds. I got about 5-6 episodes into that, and then it's just the complete lack of logic. Starting with having a fireplace in the captain's quarters, but then there was whatever that episode was where they had like lights in space blinking things, whatever that was. That was it for me. I just couldn't take it after that.
I actually, even the first episode of Discovery, I watched it and I thought this is so shitty. Like, I think that I maybe gave it a few episodes. I watched a few episodes of Discovery, and then like I just said, this is garbage. It's not Star Trek. I was so quick to realize that, and maybe there were moments later that like somebody would tell me something, and I'd watch specifically just to make fun of it or just to see how dumb it was. But I wouldn't sit and watch like all the episodes, and I haven't done that. In addition, you also have what's his face, Picard. I did the same thing. Watched the first few episodes; they were terrible. I just said this doesn't feel like Picard to me. There were some moments that later I went and kind of looked at that he became a robot and a few other things like him reuniting with like Riker when he was like wearing an overall. I watched it and like the fake it was like Data or Q or some weird shit. It was all crappy. It was all crappy. And I'm so glad that I didn't sit and actually really take that show seriously. Uh, I think we have another guest here who's on mute and I can't see him, but that hopefully will change soon. So yeah, basically, very shitty show. Sorry, Sean. Very terrible show. And the other one that people were like saying was great was Strange New World. That was the one they said, well,
Oh,
you know,
that's the one I actually tried a few episodes of. I was like, all right. And no, it just
but for me, I watched the first few episodes, and even though some people were very forgiving, I was not forgiving, and I'll tell you why. First of all, even though Christopher Pike only really appears, I mean, yes, you see him like through flashbacks, whatever, in that when they rehash that storyline in the first season of the original series. But for me, I've always liked the Cage, and I've liked it was named Jeffrey Hunter, whatever his name was, that played Christopher Pike. That felt to me like Christopher Pike. This guy, even though everybody loves Anson Mount, didn't feel like it. I wasn't convinced that man was Christopher Pike, and immediately there was a very kind of modern day feeling that they were trying to make him a little bit soft. You know what I mean?
I mean, the way they treated Spock in the first episode
annoyed me also.
Right out of the gate, all like with the second scene of the entire series.
He's in a ritual. He's like shirtless, walking around. I'm like, what is this shit? You're right. That was the other thing that happened. That Spock, the second I saw him, like, this is garbage. And then like they have Uhura, their own version of Uhura, but like she's not cool like the original one. Like I don't buy her for a second. They gave her this weird like shaved head type of thing. I don't like any of that. Nichelle Nichols, I liked what she did. This new lady that they brought, she didn't convince me. The new Spock didn't convince me, and Christopher Pike certainly didn't convince me. I was not on board with that show. A few episodes. There was like, I really tried watching a few episodes and said give it a chance. Couldn't do it. And then it turned out that they did like musicals that they're like singing to each other and like dancing and doing like show tunes. I'm so glad that I wasn't there.
I saw those on X. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah, no, that one I didn't even bother like watching full episodes or anything later. Not even like you said on X. I saw some clips. I'm like, I'm so glad I jumped off this train. What'd you say?
Oh, okay. You can hear me now.
I can hear you. I absolutely.
Okay.
I am one of the only people that liked Christopher Pike on the original series. Thought he was great. I'm not sad that he left because I think that Captain Kirk, William Shatner as Captain Kirk, that's the best. That's like the GOAT. But I really like Christopher Pike. I'm almost sad we didn't get more of Christopher Pike because I thought that actor brought something interesting to the table. But it is what it is. I still like that we have whatever we have of him. And
Yeah, I mean, most original Trekkies loved Pike. He did a few conventions. He's always been pretty popular amongst like the older fans anyway. But he wasn't put in a dress and doing dishes for the rest of his crew, for God's sake.
no, he absolutely wasn't. And yeah, so basically that was good. People are saying the Orville. The Orville is better than Kurtzman Trek. Absolutely. I'll tell you this. The only thing I'll say is the Orville season 1 I thought was pretty good. Season 2, if I remember correctly now, because I haven't watched this in a while, I think that like Seth MacFarlane, he sort of realized that he was the only person that was going to do any kind of something that resembles Star Trek in the modern age. And in season 2, I really felt that he stepped up his game. And when I watched season 2, I was like, man, this guy's really riding that wave. He knows what he needs to do and he's doing it. And I was shocked because like I've always had kind of mixed feelings about Seth MacFarlane. There's something that he does that I don't hate. Sometimes I find him kind of annoying, but I actually thought that if the first season was a bit goofy, the second season of Orville, I really feel like he understood that he had like more of a responsibility and people were counting on him to make like something good sci-fi. And I think he was really in the right direction. Season 3 is uneven. There's some episodes in season 3 that I enjoyed, but at the same time, there's some episodes of season 3 that when you only have 10 episodes a season and 2 of them are dedicated to this storyline of like the girl that's a boy, I understand that they tried to do allegories for this thing, but man, like, you don't have 25 episodes a season. We don't need 2 of that. Do you get what I mean?
I'm glad you said that because I was wondering if maybe I've got an unpopular opinion when I say I like season 2 better than season 3.
No.
Part of the reason is that he didn't have the restraint in season 3. He was allowed to make the episodes as long as he wanted. And sometimes they just got really long-winded for being like an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes, or whatever they got to sometimes. And it's like, you can trim some of the fat here. I get it, I don't need 90 minutes of the girl wants to be a boy episode as much.
Yeah. I thought season 3 was terrible. It got a little better toward the second back half of the season. And season 1 started off a little like they were going for way too much comedy the first few episodes, but they found their stride through the rest of season 1. And I think season 2 is the strongest. Season 3 sort of went full message.
It really did. I mean, not as bad as I think we've seen in other places, but yeah, I mean, it was very strong on the message.
Yeah, they even had a whole planet full of manga. I mean, it wasn't subtle.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I liked that episode in terms of, like, I thought that was a better episode in the season, but it was really on the nose. As an was basically a pro-abortion message throughout the episode, right?
There was some weird things in there. I really feel that, like, okay, so he still understood that he needs to do the allegory, and he does it better than Kurtzman. Even season 3 of Orville is better than anything that Kurtzman did. But I feel like, Seth MacFarlane, started getting high on his own, supply. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People were telling him how great he was, and I think that it kind of went to his head. He needed to continue with the mindset of season 2. The season 2 thing was an improvement on season 1, and it's so sad that he couldn't continue the momentum. On the other hand, when you have like 70 years between seasons, and he has way too much time on his hands to pat himself on the back, maybe that's why we didn't get like a better season 3. Not everything was terrible in season 3. Like, there's a few episodes in there that I thought were pretty good, but out of like 10, if season 1 had maybe like 7 out of 10 good episodes and season 2 had probably like 9 out of 10 good episodes, season 3 had like, 3-4 out of 10 that were good.
Yeah. Well, mostly I think the back half, but You know, when the Orville premiered, everybody online called it the spiritual successor to Star Trek, just like Galaxy Quest is the most people's favorite Star Trek movie. It really earned it. And it wasn't until he sort of went way over the top that he sort of lost that.
I'm going to actually apply this to The Expanse as well, which I enjoyed all of The Expanse, but after season 3, they were no longer, limited by the restrictions of that 45-minute format in television and having to like really work within the 8-minute acts, right? They could just do whatever they wanted. And as much as I enjoyed seasons 4, 5, and 6 of The Expanse, I would still say season 3 is my favorite, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of time restrictions actually create, foster creativity and create innovations. And when you have unlimited money and unlimited time, the result is never optimal.
There's that saying that geniuses always work best when they're limited or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if you just tell somebody that even has the most talent, just, do whatever you want. Now you got carte blanche. You know what? It sounds really good in theory. And maybe Tarantino, when he makes a movie, he should have carte blanche. But most people probably need that producer to come along and say, you know what? You're wasting time here. This is too much. This is some nonsense. Focus on the story. I've said this before a lot, that I think that like Zack Snyder, when he has a producer that's like, Zack, you got to get going here. Can't do like 7 hours of slow motion. Get moving. And somebody also gives him a decent screenplay, he could probably direct a decent movie. It's just that once you give some of these people like the free reign of carte blanche and just do whatever you want, sometimes they just, like I said, it doesn't always work when it's like unlimited. Limits are good.
Yeah, well, look what happened to George Lucas. Also, you need somebody there
With the
that you
prequels,
trust
with
to tell
the
you no.
prequels.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had so much money from the original trilogy and nobody there to tell him no. And if you look at the behind the scenes of the prequels, you can see how terrified people are about making any sort of suggestion to him. You can kind of see them being terrified to talk.
Of course. He had yes men. Some of it is like, maybe just he's so successful at this point that anybody just wants to be in the room with him. I'm not saying that like he did something nefarious or malicious. It's just that he needed to surround himself by people that weren't just bowing down to him. And in the original movie, he had the exact opposite effect because he wasn't George Lucas that everybody knew. He went to like London, and all those people in that crew there that were like some locals or whatever, they thought this movie was going to bomb. They thought that he was a complete idiot, and he had to like constantly fight for his movie to even get made with the crew that he was assigned. You know what I mean? It's the same situation with James Cameron, that he made like, I think Alien or whatever, Aliens, whatever that was, that he went to London to film it, and there was also a crew, and they also said, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? I'm going to lunch now. Screw that guy. And he's like, no, we're working hard now. He's like, no, I'm going to drink tea. Like, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, that's stuff that happened on this. It really happened.
Yeah,
That shit happened on set. What I said exactly happened on set. There was something that I don't know who was it? Was it Sigourney Weaver that had to try to sort of mediate between like the unions there and him? And she told him, listen, you're going to have to try to be a little nicer to them. And like it pained him that he couldn't make the movie like exactly what he wanted, and he had to be a little nice to these people, because he's thinking to himself, like, I'm James Cameron, I'm making this fucking movie, and these guys are all like, bothering him. Later on, you say you're on a James Cameron movie, you bring a bunch of people, they probably bow down to him. You know what I mean? And that's when you got like Avatar 7.
It works it works in music too. Like everybody's band, their best music is essentially their earlier work, because by the time they're so famous and they can tell the labels to go screw off and nobody can tell them how to write their songs, that's when they get mired in with self-indulgence.
Well, CC Karaoke is here, so I can actually tell him, not only are you right, Phobos, one of CC's favorite bands, if not his favorite band, Pearl Jam, falls into this very category. The first album 10 until today, is one of the best albums I've heard, certainly one of the best premiere albums that I've heard. It's an amazing album. Everything about it just works perfectly. But the thing is that the dynamics that led to that album were what made it so special. Basically, those musicians, I don't know if it's like Stone Gossard or whatever, McCready, I don't know what their names are. Ament, Jeff Ament. Am I getting any of this right?
Yeah, that's them.
So
And Dave Cruson, I think, was crucial to that. He was the original drummer.
he was the original drummer. He was a great drummer.
Now Matt Cameron is also a great drummer, but he didn't mesh with them like the other guy did.
Well, the other guy, here's the thing. First of all, let's start with this. This is the best part of like that first album, is that those guys actually wrote the main melodies and the riffs and all that stuff. They did all of that in advance. And they basically gave Eddie Vedder, was it Jack Irons or something that recommended him? I don't know. In any case, he was recommended. They gave him a cassette. And then he heard their music already existing, and he added his vocals, his interpretation of what he wanted to sing over it. That was a brilliant setup because it limited him. It didn't give him like, oh, you're Eddie Vedder, you can do whatever you want. Here's a song, you sing within the confines of what we gave you. And you know what? It's just like the limiting the genius. Delivered like a slam dunk home run. In addition, you're absolutely right, Istafobos. Dave Cruson, who I rate very much. Cece knows that I rate him, right, Cece?
Yes, you do. For good reason.
For good reason, yeah. So,
are you related or something? Like,
it's such a long story.
Stories.
It's a very long story, and I probably could never tell it. So, what can I do? The only person actually on Earth that knows it, one of the only people, is CC Karaoke. But obviously, it would be a problem. So there's not more that could be said.
okay.
I'll say this: my paths has crossed with his path at some point. Very nice guy. That's all I'll say. In any case, what happened is that he was the original drummer, as you said, Istafobos, and I think that he had a very, very unique style. Whatever you feel, he felt that music and brought the interpretation that's the best. When you listen to 10, in my opinion, the two things that stand out the most are Eddie Vedder's delivery and like Dave Cruson's drums. They're really like the backbone that holds it together. I'm not taking away from the other people. They did really cool riffs and they do their job really great. I'm not like knocking any of them. They're all professionals and they do a great job. Those two things are very important ingredients that really put it like over the edge. And
didn't they all write it together through jam sessions and everything? Like all of the music, it wasn't just one guy writing a song. Like they were playing together, they were jamming, and they developed all of the songs as a band, right? Or am I mistaken?
I mean, initially all those riffs and whatever, I think that there was more of a group effort. Eddie Vedder had to add his stuff later, and I think that was a good setup.
It didn't stay that way.
It did, and that's what made the diminishing returns of the quality of that band's output. Because what happened
Eddie Vedder took over the band and became the sole writer, and Matt Cameron, who I love as a musician,
he's great.
Like, some of the best songs that band could have put together in the last 20 years. Many of them were Matt Cameron songs, and they were all shelved because many of his best ideas were not used.
Yeah, but didn't they show up on Temple of the Dog? That's a good example to show what he can do when they write together. Because I love the Temple of the Dog album, and that's half of Pearl Jam. But there's no. So I hesitate talking about it because I do like Matt Cameron. He is a fantastic drummer, but he wasn't Pearl Jam's drummer.
Well, one thing I will credit to Pearl Jam, and particularly Matt Cameron, is that they did something very few bands do. And they were able to play any of a couple 300 songs on any given night. They didn't just play the same set list every night on tour. Every night they went out for most of the last 20 plus years. They played whatever they felt like playing in the moment. Completely different set list every night.
Yes.
And high respect to that.
Right? Yeah. King Crimson used to do that.
The only comment I'll say is that you're right about what you're saying, but there's certain like staples from 10. They couldn't do that show without them. And
the audience would stand up for 10. Like the against my positive comment, Pearl Jam is the band who went up against Ticketmaster in 95, right? And then last year I went to see him in Vancouver, paid like $300+ a ticket to sit at the top of the nosebleeds Then watched the entire stadium stand up the moment they started playing the songs from 10 after sitting for the rest of the show, right?
Yeah. On the other hand, they're also
they've corporatized.
Yeah, I did see Eddie Vedder jump off the stage and start a fight with a bouncer who was giving one of their fans a hard time. That was actually, this was very early on, and it made me sort of madly respect the guy.
I liked him better in his youth than I did like in later years. I think that, you know, early on he was this kind of like he was a breath of fresh air. He brought something different. He was really cool. And I remember like, you know, he had that cool factor early on, but somehow like it went from cool to being like a kind of annoying fart pretty quickly. And it pains me to say that because like as much as I'm talking now, when 10 came out, I loved that album. I mean, and that album still means something to me. I even liked, you know, Verses to an extent, even though it was just leftovers from 10. But I liked it because, like, even leftovers from 10, and I think it wasn't Matt Cameron. Then it was like Dave Vernazzo. What's his name? Dave. There was another drummer.
Dave
Bruzy.
Bruzy, yeah. I was close enough. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So there was that guy. That guy was a decent drummer too. I don't think he was as good as Dave Cruzen, but like I thought he was a decent drummer. Then you had I think that on Vitalogy, they replaced him in the middle. Maybe Jack Irons played a little bit on it. I don't even remember now. Who played on the fourth album? Who played on No Code?
What? That wasn't a Bruzy's.
No, that was Jack Irons.
Okay.
See, I knew there was Jack Irons. I can't believe I know all of this. What's it? And Jack Irons stayed for a while. No, when did he leave?
2 albums.
2 albums.
2 albums. No Code and Yield.
Although to be fair, and I have to be honest here, this is the one thing that we really like. I don't agree with like CC Karaoke. CC Karaoke, I respect so many of your opinions, but the fact that you think that No Code is the best Pearl Jam album, it keeps me up at night. It keeps me up at night that you think that that's the best album. I don't think there's ever been an album that I was more disappointed with. Like, I was so excited. I mean, first of all, 10, like, loved it. Versus, I didn't like it as much as 10, but I did like it. It had some strong, you know, B-sides, if you want to call it. Vitalogy is where you started seeing the cracks. Because, like, you have Vitalogy, you have, like, the song Nothing Man, you have Better Man, and you have Immortality, I think. You have those is it Immortality? I don't even know. Is there a song called Immortality?
Yes, and it's a fantastic song.
Those are the 3 best songs on Vitalogy. Then like you have these kind of spin the circle. They seem very lazy. You know what I mean? When I listen to songs and I think to myself, I could have written this song. You know what I mean? You're not in a good position if I can write it. I want you to wow me, not that I could write the song. And like, unfortunately, there's songs on like Vitalogy already that I'm like, like you let me sit in a basement with a guitar, I'd come up with this. Not Nothing Man, Better Man, and Immortality. Those are great songs, but the other ones, complete filler in my opinion on Vitalogy. So that's when the cracks started to show. But those 3 songs, I liked them enough, so I kind of let it slide. But No Code came along. And I remember feeling sad, like true, real sadness when I heard the album. I was so sad. I don't know how you were so happy, CC. I wish you would explain it to me.
Well, I guess, I mean, if I was looking for another 10, I was going to be disappointed, especially by No Code, right? I mean, if I ever wanted the band to put forth that first album again, it's never going to happen. It was never going to happen. So I suppose by setting my expectations for the kind of different musical direction that they went in, tracks like Off He Goes, if that's going to disappoint you because it's not 10, then yeah, the album's going to, a lot of Pearl Jam's going to disappoint you post that of that original early era. But I'm a bit of a sucker for that kind of acoustic guitar driven stuff, and I appreciated that. And if I'm looking for something a bit heavier hitting, then a track like Hail Hail is fucking great, you know?
Yeah, so. Creativity is a fungible resource, though. It does, you only have a certain amount at your peak. And that is why I like Temple of the Dog. I kind of feel like that's the follow up to 10, even though there's some different personnel on there. But Price, did you ever listen to any Morphine? I don't know, CC, if you're familiar with the band.
I think didn't you once send me a link and tell me to listen to them?
Yeah.
Didn't they have like a trumpet and weird things in there, the saxophone or something?
It's drums, fretless bass, and a sax with a wah-wah pedal. Yep.
I remember. I thought it was interesting. I remember whatever you sent me to listen to, I listened to it and I thought it was interesting. I would have to listen to it again because I only listened to it that one time that you told me, but I didn't think it was shitty, if that helps in any way.
Well, they came along at the same time as the whole grunge thing, and all those guys, like Primus and Alice in Chains, they all knew each other, and Mark Sandman he died on stage of a heart attack, and that was the end of the band, but they were definitely going places.
I see.
I think they were on the soundtrack to the movie Clerks. That gave them a lot of exposure. So,
I like I said, I only know from what you sent me, and it was interesting. I listened to it, and I thought it had merit. It didn't sound shitty to me, from what I recall. When it comes to creativity, I'm sorry that I didn't become like a big musician or star. Maybe I just sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's skill, sometimes it's both. But in any case, I didn't reach that place. But when it comes to being a songwriter, I think that I could have had like a lot of good output for many years. Meaning, if some people only have like a few minutes of creativity, I think I had a lot of creativity, but just nobody, I guess, cared enough to let me express it. But I think I would have done more than just like, I could have consistently come up with like interesting songs and done stuff had I been given the opportunity. But
I would say, in my experience, you need at least 2 band members who are fully committed, like full time, to trying to make the band work. And it's really hard to find that second person who's at that level.
Yeah,
and then even if you do, you have to be able to get along without egos getting in the way. And like the one band I was in that I thought really could have made it, I let my ego get in the way, and that's totally my fault.
You also need this.
I wanted to sing, and we didn't work it out before we didn't work it out, and it fell apart.
That happens. I've had situations like that as well. There were 2 bands I was in that, there was another person that was sort of a partner that we were sort of the people putting together the band. It certainly helps, especially when you're not known and nobody cares about what you're doing. It's nice to have that kind of additional person to work with, because doing it by yourself is not only kind of a lonely position to be in, it's also just very difficult to get off the ground. So having another person that you're on the same wavelength is good. But like Cece said, a lot of times it also involves like egos and stuff. One band that I was in when I was young, there was definitely some ego stuff there. Ego stuff that later everybody involved was regretted it. You think about it years, you meet after a couple of years and you're like, what were we even arguing about? And it was dumb stuff. It reminds me of that band Kaja Gugu. You know that stupid band Kaja. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but you know that hush hush shy to shy I shush whatever the fuck that is. Sorry, Sean. You know what I mean. So and they had a lead singer called Limal. So basically, even though you can watch and like everybody will give you very poetic explanations to what happened, I think that the bottom line is that they had some hit, and they were a band that wasn't really going places. They weren't bad musicians, but they couldn't really find a way to get off the ground. And they met with this singer, that Limal guy, who was very kind of animated and very much an 80s type of guy that the ladies liked and whatever it is. And then they released that song, and the song and the album, I guess initially that they released, did really well. So they're doing shows, they're getting gigs, and people are buying their album and all this stuff. And suddenly the band basically, in my opinion, just got very jealous of that Limal guy who was walking around, and like most of the people that thought of the band or the songs only thought of him. That happens sometimes with the lead singer, especially one that's sort of popular with the ladies. And you'd think that this seems like childish and stupid, but I've been in bands and I can tell you, them sitting around and seeing this guy get all the ladies and all the ladies telling him he's the greatest, that could ruin a band. You know what I mean? You think what? Like they're gonna sit there like and see him all the ladies and they're gonna like get upset? Yes, they are absolutely gonna get upset, and that is what happened to them. And they're just like, fine, we don't need that guy. It's like screw that guy. We can be Kaja Gugu without that guy. So like they through a phone call, they basically fired him when they had like a #1 song, an album that was selling, and like they had shows, and they're like, you're done. We don't even need you. And it's like I don't think at the end it really helped them or him. He got the never ending story, so he still gets a lot of royalties from that. So he had a few fortunate things happen to him. But at the end, years later, they ended up like, reuniting. A lot of times you see this. And you even saw like they had a show on VH1 years later where they all apologized to each other and they're like, man, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have done. You see in like an older perspective that like this all seems stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and one of the, even if you're willing to work, it helps to have a band member that you have really good synergy with, where both of you together are better than the sum of your parts. Lennon and McCartney, Page and Plant, sorry, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, like. None
Even
of those
Gilmore
guys.
and Waters. I think Waters is a weasel, but I mean, I still respect the output. Adam Gray.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with their incredibly horrible band. Well, Kaja Gugu. That's a stupid name. I think that if they were called Kaja Gugu and somebody actually was buying their records, they should have just stayed where they're at. You know what I mean? Don't
Wasn't
do
that
anything.
Baby Yoda's cousin? Gugu?
Yeah, I mean, it happened to one other thing. There's that band Yazoo or whatever it is. The guy that created like that guy that Fletcher, I think his name is, that he created. He was like the co-founder of Depeche Mode. He did the first album with them, and then like they annoyed him, so he's like, I'm just going to go on my own and do my own thing. Which most people can't do that, but he went and did his own thing, and then he found like a lady that sang kind of blues, and then they did that like Yazoo band. Which was like an early version of these kind of club house music with like soulful singing on it. It may not be like the style that I like 100% prefer. I do think it's interesting because it was a bit ahead of its time. That Fletcher guy with the Depeche Mode was a bit ahead of its time. That thing with the Yazoo, I think he was a bit ahead of its time. And then after that, and he left that after like, and the reason I'm saying this is that band did very well, the second one, and he also, he thought he could do something else. They didn't get along. He didn't get along with the Depeche Mode people either. In his case, he was lucky. He ended up in Eurasia. There's a band called Erasure, right?
Yeah. Not really much.
And what is Cece? You do all this karaoke stuff. There's not a Eurasia.
There's a band called that. I'm not very well aware of them though.
Yeah, it's not really
discover. There's
not my thing.
Don't know this. It's kind of like it's not the most manly music I ever heard.
Yep. You got,
but for non-manly music, it's pretty well. It's pretty well put together. People are probably thinking to themselves, "What on earth is this guy talking about?"
Yeah, it's 80s London synth pop, and it's not my thing.
Yeah.
But
Yazoo and Erasure were related, Adam Gray. The guy that created was a co-founder of Depeche Mode. He got there, fought with Depeche Mode, left, founded Yazoo, got hits. In both cases, hits came along. He was like the man of the hour. Again, Yazoo, he puts it together. Hits come along, man of the hour. Again, he fights with everybody. Then he leaves. He's like, okay, Erasure. And that somehow stuck for a while. Like, he probably fought there too, but, not before like making more money. At least I'll give him credit that he must have some kind of understanding as a producer and his talent, because most people don't fight in 3 bands and still walk away with like money and a career. You know what I mean? Like that's usually bad business, but somehow this guy, was able to do it.
Did we get here from Starfleet Academy? Really?
We did. And you know what? This is much more pleasant. I've suffered enough.
Yeah.
Like I've suffered with enough with Starfleet Academy. I thought that everybody would leave, but there's still a few people watching.
I hope never to have to talk about that show again, and I hope season 2 never sees the light of day.
Even Flow is a great song.
If anybody is smart enough to realize they'll make more money by not airing it.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Owners,
maybe they are.
They'll save all the post-production costs because they haven't done post on it.
I mean, the thing is that, he would have to, like, Ellison would have to torpedo both that and Strange New Worlds because it's hard that what he would do to Strange New Worlds but not the other one. It's very strange that he would write off one and not the other. He would probably have to torpedo them both if that's what he wanted to do. Uh, I think Script Doctor explained this to me, and maybe I'm wrong, that in the case of Warner Brothers, it was their production of Batgirl, so they had all the cards close to their chest where they could control this idea of doing a tax write-off. But when it comes to Kurtzman and the agreements that they have with him, it may not be so simple to take whatever he did and flush it down the toilet and say it's a tax write-off. I don't really know why it's not simple. This is something I was told. We may still be surprised. Maybe they can still make it work. But from what I understand, it would be a little trickier to do that because it's not Paramount that produced it. It's like, Alex Kurtzman and his shitty company, this shitty secret hideout.
Yeah, but it was still done under work for hire rules. Whatever contract they're doing, it's still like, even if they have to pay a cancellation fee, it'll cost them less than the brand destruction of
I'm not
actually
privy-
airing it.
I've heard conflicting things about this.
Yeah.
I'm not privy to the contract, and without seeing what contract he has, I can't tell you. There
Yeah,
could be
none of us are.
situations. I'll give you an example. I was once involved in some deal in some contract or something, and if production didn't start by a certain date, if something didn't happen, certain things by a certain date, you could then start backing out. There were little things that could happen that if you didn't do this and if you didn't do that, the person could back out of the deal or things like that. What they have there, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that Kurtzman did anything that was outside the time frame. I don't think that they can get him on that. What cancellation? Most contracts have like a termination clause, a cancellation clause. Somebody must have thought something. The question is, if getting rid of this is more trouble than it's worth. Sometimes you want to do an echo. You just say, okay, there one day you'll turn it on. There will be all the episodes. All the YouTubers will be will scramble because imagine this is like giving YouTubers 10 episodes of like Starfleet Academy in one day and having them to start doing reviews. It's almost like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, the other thing is that, remember, these are being shown with advertisements. So even if they're making just a nominal amount of money by selling ads with the show, it's more than they would make otherwise. They might be just, let's get back whatever we can and then write the stuff off after. So
Screaming Trees song Nearly Lost You Rocked. I think the lead singer created Queens of the Stone Age. I don't, Cece, did he create the Queens of the Stone Age? I'm not even sure.
One of the band members did.
But I do remember the song.
Off the top of my head, which one?
Na, 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 na.
yeah,
Roll, na, 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 na. Something like
It's a
that, right?
that was on
fantastic
the
song.
that was on the single soundtrack, I think. Calling Me Back to My dun 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 dun.
My favorite
was
Screaming
a good
Trees
song.
song is Sworn and Broken, though. Sworn and Broken, check it out.
Alison Moyet, remind me, what is it? Alison Moyet, what band is she in? Sounds familiar.
Yeah, Screaming Trees, a bunch of fat dudes, so I don't think it's her.
No, Alison Moyet is from somewhere else, but the name sounds familiar to me. Why does Alison Moyet sound familiar? Now I have to Google this. Oh, she's just a regular person.
Yazoo. She was in Yazoo.
Oh, that's why. She does have a good voice. That is true. She does have a good voice. I mean, even if you think those are kind of Euro trashy songs or whatever you want to call them, or like they're like a cross between house music and Depeche Mode or whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, that lady can sing. There's no doubt about it that she brings a lot of character. And I'm going to say something that this Fletcher guy, Depeche Mode, sort of started something new, and he can he could pat himself on the back that he sort of kind of was revolutionary in terms of like introducing that sound, because I think it influenced a lot of sounds you heard in the 80s. So he could claim like, I was one of the first to do this. In addition, when it comes to like Yazoo, the idea of having electronic music and like a singer with more soul, that is very much like, he can pat himself on the back there. It wasn't done every second before. You know what I mean? It's like an early form of almost this kind of house music. The other option that the other song I can think of is like the Eurythmics with Sweet Dreams was an early version of this, and I think that this Yazoo thing was early also. Those were like early versions of this. whether you like it or not. But I just like, I mean, I
Yeah.
give credit. I don't hate every single style either. It may not be my preferred one. It's not the one that I'll listen to all day. But sometimes if I'm in like the right mood, I can listen to something that's sort of outside my, you know, the thing that seems to be the thing that I like, if you know what I mean.
As long as
Yeah,
it qualifies as music.
yeah, I wanted to tell Argentum we've heard all sorts of numbers of what the kill fee, anywhere up from 5 to 100 million. So none of us are ever going to be able to see the contracts and what the specifics are. All we can do is kind of hope. But I'll tell you what, if they do air season 2, I'm not going to watch it. I'm done. I could barely get through this last bits of crap.
I can't afford not to watch it. I'm gonna watch every. I really hope, for my sake, that they spread it. If they're already gonna show it, okay. If they don't show it, I'll be fine with it. I'll accept that they didn't show it. They don't have to do it. If they say it, like, I'll be happier more than any reviews from my channel. If they say that Kurtzman, they told him we're not airing your shitty show, and he has to deal with that, I will accept that, and I'll be happy, even though I don't have the reviews or whatever it is. But if they're already showing it, I really prefer they do it like every week an episode. There's no way I can try to even tackle 10 episodes of this nonsense together. It's like an overload. You know what I mean? Usually now when I watch an episode, it takes me a day to think about all the stupid things that I saw in that episode. And I keep processing them. Only then I can sit and like properly work on this video. Now, if there's 10 in one day, it's too much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you'll have a seizure, but
Yeah.
it's not like you're not going to have tons of other garbage to review. Like, I mean, your options are still going to be plenty when it comes to watching and reviewing Grap. So you'll be good.
Oh, he's not Fletcher. It's Clark. You're right. In between Yazoo and Erasure, Vince Clark recorded a single with Feargal Sharkey, then released a single with another singer, and then formed Erasure. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, Erasure itself is also like, it has that kind of Euro, Electro, whatever it is. It's fine. There's a few songs that aren't terrible there, if you're into that sort of thing. It's not the worst thing that I heard.
Did either of you guys watch War Machine yet on Netflix?
Have not watched it, no.
Okay.
No.
I loved Eurythmics from Jason Webster. Oh, Jason Webster sent he sent 2 super chats. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
We were so busy talking about like Eddie Vedder being a douche that we forgot to look at this.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I understand that he was good at the beginning, but I'm just saying that later on he kind of gave a douche.
He was threatening to kick people out of the fan club for daring to mention the unreleased material. That was a bit much.
That's a bit of there's some arrogance or hubris there. Like,
unfortunately, yeah. I mean, again, it's not that I don't recognize like his talent, but it's just sad because I did grow up listening to him and I did like it. But Jason Webster with 2 super chats here for $5 each. We have Parents Stop, or I'm making you watch Starfleet Academy. I'm not bluffing. I don't know. I'm wondering to myself, they really wanted to appeal to kids. I think you'd be hard pressed to find kids that would watch this crap. If you're trying to appeal to these weird TikTok kids, you're not going to do it with this show. This show is dumb. And maybe what they watch is dumb too, but this is different than the dumb that they like. I don't know if I explained that well, but
I think they're trying to appeal to what they imagine kids are rather than what they actually are, because they never get out of their bubble. So they have this idea, but it doesn't reflect reality.
Absolutely. So then you have Jason Webster with his second super chat of $5, and thank you very much. I always appreciate your super chats. The prestigious 49th Japanese Academy Film Prize ceremony is on tonight. Kokuho has 60 nominations, and Chainsaw Man is nominated for Best Animation Film. I really enjoyed Chainsaw Man. I actually, even though I'm not a big anime guy, it's not that I don't like it. I just I'm not like, I haven't seen enough. I haven't watched enough of those kind of like anime or whatever it is. I have watched here and there things, and whenever I do, I always find it very interesting. Chainsaw Man, because of Irwin from Nerd Wars, I ended up watching the series and the movie and doing a review about it. and it was very inventive and strange and surreal and creative. It's really hard to approach that kind of thing and review it as if you're reviewing something that like is like a coherent narrative. It's like bonkers and all over the place. Did you happen to watch Chainsaw Man?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It is like, I mean, it's just so I don't really know how to explain it. It's almost like watching something surreal. Like don't try to, but not stupid, like as opposed to, let's say, Kurtzman, that you watch it and you're thinking, well, this is just dumb and stupid and doesn't make sense. In this thing, it's like it's more surreal than like just it's not that it's stupid the way that it's written. It just feels very surreal. You know what I mean? The main idea is that there's a guy that like he one time was like dying, so he merged with this strange like creature that kind of looks like a dog with a head that's a chainsaw. So then, like, sometimes when he gets like upset, his face like turns into a chainsaw and his hands turns into chainsaws, and he goes and like fights like weird evil monsters. It is bonkers and weird, and there's women doing strange things, and like there's also a lot of weird sexual stuff that's kind of weird. It is absolutely like and even though it like it's so bonkers and weird, I have to kind of respect the sort of artistry and the creativity that went into it, even though it is something very, very different for me. So when I saw it, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. I don't sit around since then and watch anime every second, but I was happy I had that experience because I was trying to learn, like, what people see in that kind of thing, and especially a new and modern one. And I thought it was pretty cool. So that was my thoughts. If Chainsaw Man's wins, I'm not going to be sad. I don't have any issue with it. And then Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart, they perfectly complemented each other, not only in the recording studio but actually in other rooms as well. Allegedly, no.
Oh, I don't even know what are they said. Were they hooking up? I don't even know what he's
I
referring
think
to.
that they were like doing a lot of naughty things together, but then there was like sort of it didn't end up working out, but they were still trying to make music or something. I don't know the details. I have a feeling that there was something going on there. Uh, you know what? You guys talk for a second. I have to Google this.
Okay.
Did Annie Lennox?
Well,
Somebody
Did
like
Annie Lennox?
so I did watch the new Netflix movie with Alan Richman, who seems to still be growing. That guy is just so huge. Every time I see him, he looks bigger than he did the last time. And it was just kind of good 90s sci-fi adventure fun. Wasn't anything spectacular. I'll put it up there with like Extraction or maybe The Accountant, but it was enjoyable. It was action. It had appropriate amounts of testosterone, and it just had a war machine. Did I even forget to say the name? Anyway, I thought it was fun enough. I won't give any spoilers, but so that's really the other thing. And I guess it's too early to talk about Project Hail Mary.
Did people do people like that? I think Drinker saw it. Did he say that he liked it?
He was definitely on the positive side. I think without getting too, I think the buzz has been really positive. And remember, this isn't Disney. The reviewers aren't motivated to kiss ass like they are. This is Amazon. So you'll have, I think, more genuine creator reviews that are honest. I mean, critic reviews that are honest. So it's got a very high critic review. I think I think the worst that it can be is going to be still good.
I'm happy. Well, I'll say this. Okay, so basically, if I understand correctly, in the 70s, they were an item, Dave Stewart and Annie Lennox. And then they were in a band called The Tourists or something. And because they were in a relationship, but that relationship soured, The Tourists broke up. But then for some reason, they still recorded a few songs trying to like keep a professional relationship, and they recorded that like some early Sweet Dreams and a few Eurythmics track that maybe unexpectedly, I don't know if they expected or not, became suddenly like their biggest hits. Like suddenly that became good. So then they were in a strange situation that for a number of years they were like former lovers with a relationship gone sour that had to still like remain professional and make music together, which I guess they did. And then maybe at some point that like, you know, Annie Lennox felt comfortable enough, she kind of just bailed on him and was just Annie Lennox. But the truth is, they sound the best when they're together. When they're together and not in a relationship, that's actually when the best music came out. I mean, again, it's not that like I listen to the Eurythmics all day, but Sweet Dreams is a good song. I mean, it's iconic
Yeah.
for a reason. It does what it needs to do. Even that song like Here Comes the Rain Again, that's a pretty good song too. Like, you know, there's nothing I can't say that it isn't. Uh Again, I don't sit around like you're not going to see me sitting around playing like all day like Here Comes the Rain Again.
Yeah. I don't have any of their albums, let's put it that way. But
Right, exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
I've got Mike Oldfield records, I've got Tangerine Dream records, even Jean-Michel Jarre. I've got some weird country opera. I'm all over the place. So I don't really look at it as a genre thing. I even like, what do they call it? Europop, some of that, you know, 80s stuff. I really like it. It just sort of depends.
So Strugon says maybe they stayed friends with benefits. It is possible. I would find that a very difficult situation that you have like a hit and now you have to like go on tour and you have to be with this person all the time. Imagine like you were just like together all this time and suddenly you were separating, but then you have hits. Very awkward situation to be in, but I don't know.
Well,
They somehow did it.
Wasn't that the deal with the White Stripes and, you know, Fleetwood Mac in the 80s?
Yeah,
You know,
Fleetwood
Lindsey
Mac was
Buckingham
weirder
and-
because I think that they used to like all like, you know, kind
Yeah,
of be sticking it to each other there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but Christy McVie was married to John McVie, and then Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham were together, and then they rotate, like
Swap?
did some musical chairs stuff. Yeah, and then, but it's my understanding. I don't
wonder
know a
if there
lot
were
about it.
sometimes times that like all of them together were just in one hotel room. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's certainly possible. My brain never really thought about speculating into that area. But wasn't Jack White married to Meg White, but he took her name, and they didn't start the band until after they gotten divorced? I don't know a lot about him, but that was my understanding.
I once met Jack White next to a bathroom. Did I tell you that?
And you preferred the bathroom?
No. Okay. So
Okay.
basically, I must have told you guys this at some point. I was at an event. It was at a bar, and I was standing in line. And you know how sometimes there aren't like a million like, you know, bathrooms. There's like a door with a lock or whatever it is, and like there aren't a million of them. So you're waiting for the guy to come out. And then I was waiting like, you know, on this line, which is I think me waiting a pretty long time. And suddenly, like as I'm waiting, I look in back of me, and it's Jack White, and I'd never met him before. I don't really know the guy or anything. I actually didn't even think very much of him prior to that interaction. I mean, I didn't hate him. I think he's fine, but I wasn't like over the moon. You know what I mean? I was just all right, and he was just standing there. And then I don't know, like we were just standing next to the bathroom, so we at least exchanged a few words. And I will say that his vibe when I talked to him, he seemed like a pretty nice guy. You know, like it does matter that you talk to a guy and you kind of get the vibe that he's not like a bad guy. He seemed pretty decent. And then we were already kind of chuckling, like, you know what, Jack White's all right. You know, he's fine, Jack. He's kind of quirky. I don't dislike him. And then I just said, like, listen, Jack, like, you know, I don't usually take pictures and stuff, but like we're already next to a bathroom. So he said, like, you have to take out your camera now. We got to take selfies. So I said, okay. And I took it out, and I have selfies of me in this kind of dark bar standing next to the bathroom with Jack White. That's like me in person, not the Price of Reason doll, like the real me. I actually have that. And he seems really happy in the photo too. Like it was like he was so happy that we were standing next to a bathroom and took the pictures. That you know what, gotta give him props.
Yeah.
He's a fun, interesting guy. What were you gonna
Yeah,
say?
he's got the bad TDS now, but it's funny because the bathroom is also where I ran into John Johnson, so that's kind of funny.
He does have TDS. He didn't have it then because this is
Yeah, he's
probably
got it now. Yeah.
what I'm talking about happened like, at least 10 years ago. I don't know. Maybe maybe it was 10 years ago before he got elected the first time. So maybe he didn't have the TDS. I don't even know what the guy does. All I know is that when I met him, he was nice, but times were very different then. It was absolutely, what I'm thinking? It was probably around like 2015 or something that I met him. So if we're going back somewhere around then, Trump wouldn't have been elected and he wouldn't have had the TDS yet. But you know what it shows?
Yeah, there was
Some of these people
virus
may have
hadn't
been,
gotten out yet.
some of these people may have been halfway decent people. It's like I don't care if you don't like, a certain politician or you don't like this. People are allowed to not like a politician. And I've always said this before, like I don't have like, posters of politicians on my wall either, including like Trump. It's not really my thing. I don't really love politics or politician. I always consider myself more of an independent or middle of the road. I try to be a practical person and I don't have any kind of, TDS or something or anything like that. I just like, I try to look at things as the most practical way that I can. But I guess what I'm saying is that I don't have any issue with people that have different opinions and things like that, as long as it doesn't feel like they're having like weird meltdowns about it,
Yeah, well, I mean that's
Yeah.
the problem. I don't care who you like, but they care who we like or who we voted for, or even liking a particular policy out of many, and that's their sort of their position of absolute 100% compliance, or you're Satan, is really where the problem comes in.
What I will say is I happened upon Neil Young's website a few months ago because I was just checking him out, and right up front it says, for the forthcoming tour, I invite people of all political parties to attend my shows. I was like, all right, I know he's outspoken. He's very outspoken, but his point with that message, which I appreciated, was that he wanted people from all sides to attend his music so that the message could even be heard, right?
But that's going doing a 180 on what he has said previously.
I know that's why I was like, what? But okay,
Yeah, because he absolutely said the other. I gotta point. Adam Gray's message was beautiful. If you're listening to the White Stripes for their politics, you may have misunderstood the assignment. Beautiful, Adam. Beautiful.
So Jason Webster says, "Who's That Girl" was another good Eurythmics song. I thought that's a Madonna song. That's like, "Señorita Esposita, who's that girl?" Something, I don't know what. I couldn't even sing it now.
I don't mind, but when Sweet Dreams came out, man, it was overplayed so much.
Who's That Girl by the Eurythmics, though? I don't know that one. Who's That Girl? Isn't that a Madonna song?
That's I think it's a different song.
And then there was a movie. There was a movie called "Who's That Girl," where she was like, she was trying to play this kind of like ditzy Marilyn Monroe type kind of thing she was going for. Who's that girl? Nobody knows what I'm talking about. There was a movie with Madonna. I fucking saw that stupid movie.
Can you hear this?
What is that?
This is the Eurythmic. It's not the Madonna song. They're two different songs. Let's see here.
Oh, good stroke.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
If you
God, see,
daily,
It's okay. Yeah, we don't want any issues with the Eurythmics, even though it was such poor quality that I don't think the Eurythmics will notice. But
yeah. I mean, and it would totally be fair use. But yeah, I'll always do my best to separate the artist from the art. But most of the time I can, occasionally I can't. Like, I'm never going to have anything to do with anybody who had anything to do with Starfleet Academy. I'm not going to watch anything these actors are in or these writers. You said it too, right? Like, you would never hire a writer from that show.
To be fair, I'll tell you what. I'm going to say this: the writers and producer of this show, for me, like, there's no redemption for Starfleet Academy. I will say that, like, I don't personally sit around hating on the actors. If I'm an actor, I've said it before, if even I'm an actor and somebody walks in and says, like, Bob Iger walks into my living room now and says, "Hey, Price, I got a check for you for $5 million. You're going to be Snow White in a remake of Snow White." Don't I without thinking twice, I will put on that stupid dress for $5 million. I'll go and I'll sing. I'll sing the songs. I'll like sing to the queen. I'll do whatever you want and I'll take the $5 million. $5 million I'll play Snow White. Okay?
Yeah, but we will. I better like it's really what you say and how you act afterwards. That's if you're sanctimonious about it and you start telling other people how to live their life and do all the other shit, then
I'm going to be
I
quiet
would've had it.
and say nothing, and people will see
Yeah.
that movie and think this is the worst thing we've ever seen. Why is there a middle-aged man playing Snow White? And
Yeah,
I'm going to
but-
go take my $5 million and go like retire on some like tropical island, and
Yeah.
that'll be it. And I'll never have to think about any of this again.
Well, you show me any actors on Academy who've been quiet, and maybe I'll cut them some slack.
Professor R2 says we were by the bathroom and I took it out. Price of reason. My camera, and then. Let me see. Wait a second.
There's a Spoon song about that.
I don't know. What were you trying to say about Neil Young? Did he try to backpedal on his stupid crap?
Oh yeah, he
don't know.
completely. He did a 180. He well, you take it, Cece.
I mean, I don't know. I just obviously I'm aware of the Spotify stuff and the history, and I know his positions. But on his website, when I visited it, anyways, it was right up on the front page. It was like that he invites Donald Trump and all of his supporters to his shows.
Yeah, and he previously
yeah.
said, "Don't see me if you like Trump. I wish I could delete all the music purchased by Trump lovers and stuff like that." He said those things.
Where do you find this? I really want to find it because I
don't even know if it's still there. I just when I visited his site, it was 3-4 months ago now. So
Okay,
I
here
can't-
a message from Neil.
Is it still there?
Let's see. Did I share it?
I can see it.
Yes, you did.
A message
don't
from
see it.
Neil. Let's see what he says. This is from March 9th, 2026. This is very recent. Folks, I am so hurt for this country. Politics today is sad and depressing for me. I can't do it anymore. I can go out and demonstrate my feelings about it. We have the worst president in the history of our country. Every day is a bad day. Every day a bad TV show produced by DJT is what we get. Now, thankfully, once again, I'm in the studio recording a new album with the Chrome Hearts. I love the songs and the feeling of life and love. Music is so far. We have 8 new songs. They make me feel peace. So yeah, I don't know. I still
Nothing
think
new.
he hasn't really been able to.
No, I don't. I'm
yeah.
not suggesting that he's changed his position.
I mean, the thing is that this is the dumbest thing for me. Who gives a shit about your stupid opinions? You're a guy that, you did stuff in like the 60s and 70s. People know you from there. You have some music. You're not in a position. If you want people to come to your shows and whatever, you're not in a position to bother people. Like, and again, I'm not saying if I meet people and they're like, we don't really like Donald Trump or whatever, that's fine. You don't have to like anybody. It's like, it used to be that people are just like, oh, I voted for this guy, I voted for that guy, I like this guy, I like that guy. And you're like, oh, okay, pass the beer over there, pass the potatoes. You know what I mean? Nobody would give a shit. Now it's like, oh, how dare you do this, and dare you do that. Like, once you start all that, it just annoys me. Like, I don't want to hear about it. Like, I don't want to go to Neil Young's website and have him like lecture me about anything. Like, he's like, oh, I don't like politics. You don't like it, then why are you lecturing? Then shut up and record your shitty songs. I'm going to tell you something else, Neil. At this age, wherever you're at now, you the only thing you got is the people that are going to come and see your shows. You know what I mean? Nobody is sitting around thinking, wow, Neil Young, this is his best album yet. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His voice is probably already shot. I myself can't sing the way that I did like 20 years ago for sure. This guy is like, what is he, 80? You know what I mean? If you have some shows and some people still are nostalgic to see what you have to sing or do, be nice to those people if you care about it. And if you don't, then whatever. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and plus, man, you're like a really aged hippie who didn't graduate high school, who's done like drugs for 5 decades. Like, you're not really qualified to lecture to anybody else on their politics.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I see people, I don't want to name any names, And I don't know. I don't look at your feed every second, CC, either, so I don't really know. I don't want to name any names, but there's people, even amongst people that like, I follow them, they follow me. Some of them, surprisingly, maybe even people that I've known for a while, that I keep seeing them like comment about like American politics, this and Trump, this and this that and this that. It's like, what do you want? Like, I think that sometimes countries that if you're living in a country that has nothing to do with what's going on here and you're just kind of whining about it, it's weird. Why don't you whine about whatever's happening in your own country? There's
My
certainly things happening in Canada that can require somebody's attention. It's not like everything there is hunky dory.
my position is that I love Canada and the United States. I always have, and I always will. And nobody who's paying their rent from their basement by producing TikTok videos to tell us that we should hate each other is going to convince me to ever hate either country. I may not love everything that either country has ever done, but I'm always going to love both countries.
That's fair. I want to answer Strugon that says, Price, you just said you don't care what Jack White says, but you're telling Neil to shut the fuck up. I'll tell you what, you're saying what the fuck. I'll tell you what, the only benefit that Jack White has is I simply don't know what he said. You know what I mean? I don't know what his TDS is. I've never heard any interviews with him. If he's like Neil Young and does the same thing, I feel the same way about Jack White. It's unfortunate because it was nice when I met him. He seemed nice. But if he does that, then I have the same position about him. I'm not like doing like a double standard here. Jack White like can be lumped in with Neil Young with no problem whatsoever.
They're both
yeah,
pretty outspoken now. I don't know if Jack White was outspoken in 2015.
Hopefully you're still here, Strugon, and you saw what I said. Maybe you saw it. He's like, I'll never talk to Price again.
well, I
We'll
don't
see.
even
I think-
care. I don't even care if
Honestly,
they both hate Trump, but when they start attacking, people who are conservative or Republicans, or when they just start attacking their fans because of their beliefs and say, don't listen to my music, don't come watch my show. That's just
the
not
whole
called
thing with
for.
Pink did that, right?
Yeah, plenty of them have done that. Yeah. I don't think there's any danger of me showing up at a Pink concert. Let's just put it that way.
No.
Or buying a record. Not happening.
Let me see for a second. Let's see where you have. Yeah, I see that he's whining about Trump. Yeah, I personally think he could leave that alone as well. And I'll tell you this: today more than ever, I think that these artists should let it go. I'm going to say something because I've given this a little bit of thought. Back in the day, maybe like in the '60s or whatever it is, you sometimes felt that these kind of pop culture people, they're the only ones that have a voice. You want somebody to say it. They're using their quote unquote platform. Maybe during those days it was more relevant. But today, when you have social media and the type of platforms that exist now and social and like how people can express themselves, I don't really need the celebrity to do anything. If anything, the celebrity, like as bad as this sounds, they're more like the court gesture. They should go and like do something that like amuses us and entertains us. That's why they're getting paid. The only reason they have careers is because people like us are willing to bankroll their lavish lifestyle because we enjoy, being entertained. But if they're not willing to entertain us and they want to lecture us like Mark Ruffalo, then don't expect anything. Like, we don't want to spend our money on you. Like, Mark Ruffalo is an idiot. He's such an idiot. And yeah, I mean, these days when I see a poster and I see like Mark Ruffalo on it, I probably don't want to watch the movie. Like, he's like the anti. It's not even like canceled or anything. I don't want to that vibe. I just don't want to see that guy on the screen. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you'd have to be pretty dumb to be one of the dumbest people in Hollywood, and he kind of takes
somehow
that.
is.
Somehow,
Within
it's
the dum
impressive.
dums, he's the biggest dum dum. Yeah, he is the biggest idiot.
I mean, he's
Springsteen.
so much. He's actually so much of an idiot that he has that idiotic look on his face. Like he's legitimately has that low IQ facial expression.
Yeah, I call
Not
that the Cassian
dumb.
Andor look from walking around being confused. Like,
I could. Somebody mentioned Springsteen here. I could say something, but I probably shouldn't.
well, I mean, you probably have a lot of story. Like,
Okay.
You know
I'll just
what?
put it this way. I was once at an event, and I can't really explain this whole situation. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but basically, Bruce Springsteen. There was a few stages to this event, but there was a part at the end that there's a little kind of sort of cocktail party in his honor, and as everybody that like came to something else there that was happening and whatever, everybody was there and thinking that he's going to come out to this cocktail party. He took his stuff, went into his like limo, and disappeared. It's like,
uh,
I don't know. I kind of didn't it didn't fill me with respect, you know what I mean? Like, you have somebody who created, like, a thing for you, and they're all honoring you, and you, like, didn't even if you wanted to just stop by for a second and say hi, he's in the building, you know what I mean? He's in the same building, he just doesn't feel like walking into the room. I feel that's kind of shitty.
I got a couple of
yeah,
observations on Springsteen. They put out a biopic for him recently, right? Which completely bombed,
yeah.
made
Rightfully
almost
so.
no money. And when I've tried to actually put a few karaoke tracks out, they've also completely bombed. And it's not just my channel. I'm looking at karaoke for his stuff across platforms. People aren't singing his music, and they didn't go to see his movie. Like, I'm thinking, I don't know what he draws to his shows, but like from
Well, I'll
a
tell
kind
you
of an
this
outside observation, it's like,
about, like, maybe 12 or, I don't know, 14 years ago, I don't know when it was now, maybe 12 years ago, I had a friend call me, and, he said, "I have the best news. I have tickets for to see go see Bruce Springsteen." And I told him this is a true story. I said, "You should call somebody that's like a really big fan of Bruce Springsteen and say to them what you just said to me." 'Cause, like, he wanted me to go with him, and I'm like, "Listen, I'm not, like, really a huge fan. I'm okay with that album with Born in the USA or whatever, but I'm not one of those people that have, like, all of his albums and I don't really care. Like, if you got the tickets and they're in a good place in the audience or whatever it is, you find somebody that, like, is passionate about Bruce Springsteen the way you're passionate." But then he's like, "Come on, man, like, don't be an asshole, like, I'll pick you up with my car and we'll go to the stadium. I'll do this. I'll do that. All you have to do is just you do nothing. You do nothing and you get to see like Bruce Springsteen, the best seats. And you don't have to pay for anything." So I'm like, all right.
Well, listen. So his shows are still selling out, but they're not. There are plenty of empty seats because all of the initial tickets get sold, and then they show up on the secondary market. So he did make over 700 million on his last tour. So there's still
okay.
demand, but
He's not worried. I'll tell you
yeah,
what, and I'll say something else. This was like well before all that kind of TDS stuff or whatever it is. I saw his show, and at the time, the guy was in, he's still younger significantly than what he is now because we're talking like 12 years back. Considering what age he was at then, and I think he was in his 60s, wasn't like 2 years old. He was very professional. He gave a very professional show, and to be quite honest, I didn't suffer watching it. I thought it was rather interesting. I thought it was like, I wasn't sad that I saw it, and I thought he put like a professional enough production. But at the same time, I didn't walk out of there thinking, now I got to listen to all of his albums. It was an
yeah,
interesting show to watch. It's like, it's an experience to have, but I don't feel like his albums are something that I want to listen to all day and all night. And I think also that he kind of miscalculated. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, maybe he cares or maybe he doesn't care. But his whole shtick is that he was trying to be like, I'm appealing to the working man. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That was his whole thing. But when the working man is all like states that are Republican, basically, and you keep saying how much like you don't like those in different ways, shapes, or forms, but if you keep like peddling that kind of narrative, at the end, you're just going to lose your strongest base of people that were actually supporting you. And I think that gradually that's what happened to Springsteen, along with the fact that he got older, along with the fact
Huh.
that his catalog, if you think about it, if you had to put like a greatest hits track of like, Bruce Springsteen, how many things do you have like, after 1991 or whatever? How many
Um,
things do you
uh,
have? You
I,
got
I, I don't even have four if it's all of his stuff. So
I'll tell you, I'm gonna try to work with you now as to Phobos. I'll tell you what I got. I got Born to Run. That's like a song. Like forget if you and I love the song or not. Things that somehow are in the pop culture that somebody knows. You got like Born to Run. You got Born in the USA. You got Dancing in the Dark. All from that one album in the 80s. We'll get back to that in a
yeah,
second. Dancing in the Dark. Light My Fire. No, I think it's called Light My Fire, right?
I'm on fire.
I'm on fire, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The light my
Yeah.
fire is the Doors.
Wait, can I just quickly say he some of his fans reps, he on his No Kings tour, he's selling tickets for $3,000 a ticket. So it's like No Kings, but I'm gonna charge a king's ransom for my that's not working class prices.
No, he's not working class at all. He loves his
Yeah,
like all. It's the biggest hypocrite, really. But
Yeah.
then, what's his face? So, what was I gonna say?
You were listing songs that might go on
Yeah,
a
yeah.
radio.
Blinded
okay.
by the Light is actually my favorite song of his, and he didn't really make that a hit. That was Manfred Man, but I think it's a great song.
Which one?
Blinded by the Light. It's off Ashbury Park, his first album.
Isn't that a song that?
It's about masturbation, yes.
It's the one with you're wrapped up like a douche in the middle of the night. Is that one it?
It's a deuce, not a douche, but yes. Wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night.
So-
Madman, drummers, bummers, Indians in the summer.
The light,
Yep.
wrapped up like a douche in the middle of the night. Something like that, right?
Yeah, but it's wrapped up like a deuce, another runner
Wrapped
in the
up
night.
like a douche
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
They're all expressions, you know.
wrapped
Some
up like a
silicone
douche,
sister
'cause he-
with her managing mister told me I got what it takes. She said, I'll turn you on something to something strong. You'll play the song with the funky breaks. And Go-Kart Mozart was checking out the weather chart, seeing if it's safe outside. And little early burly gave my anus girly whirly and asked me if I needed a ride. Like, it's funny. It's well
he wrote
written.
that
It's-
song. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I just know that that whoever sings it is wrapped up like a douche in the middle of the night. And the reason why he's wrapped up like a douche is because he's getting all the action. You know what I mean? That's what I always thought. That's what the song is. You've ruined it for me as the Phobos. Now you're
it's
telling me
still
that
about that. No, it's still about that.
I
Though.
thought that he was wrapped up like a douche in the middle of the night, and that's I
dude,
had some respect for the man for singing this on a pop track. You know,
Listen, I doubt many boys use a douche to masturbate. That's a feminine hygiene thing.
But
Like,
the thing is that a douche. Here's the thing. What does a douche do? Sorry,
it cleans out vaginas after
right, but
you know.
he's wrapped up. Like the way that a douche would be wrapped up, he is wrapped up like the douche.
You know, you did one of those I'm not talking about the linens thing. You know, I'm not talking about the linens. It's not the linens. Yeah, you just misheard. But with his accent, I understand he's talking about a douche. It could definitely say she was blinded by the light, revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night. That's the actual lyric.
Up like a douche in the middle of the night. Whalem 03, I'm on fire as a suspect song. Listen, I understand why, because he's like, hey, little girl, is your daddy home? If he
Yeah.
did, just leave you alone.
Yeah. I never considered it suspect. Like that's out and out like predatory. Like it's not even so. Yeah.
In any case, where were we? Let me think for a second.
Woke musicians shut up about politics.
First of all, I hope that Strugon didn't leave. Oh, I see he's still here. Yeah, I'm not giving like Jack White a pass just because he took a selfie with me next to a bathroom.
Yeah.
I'll give him that he seemed nice when we took that selfie, but I'm not going to give him anything else. Professor R2 says, I've never been so happy to not be on the show.
Oh, you're here. Come on back. What's he?
You're welcome to come back and talk about the lyrics of that song. So basically, we have just I want to put this together. We said Born to Run, Born in the USA, Dancing in the Dark, I'm on Fire, then maybe Philadelphia, Glory Days. And I'm starting to run out. Like I don't have many other options here. You're really pushing me here. Like beyond those 7 songs, I don't think I have a lot to work with here.
Ghost of Tom Joad.
You'd have to play that one for me to remember what that is. And the funniest thing, and this I'll say about Bruce Springsteen is that he actually, part of the reason he became popular was especially in the 80s was kind of by mistake. Now, why was this a mistake? Because The album Born in the USA was during the Reagan era, and everybody thought like, oh, he's so
Yeah.
patriotic. He loves the working man. He loves USA.
Yeah,
The
the
song-
Republicans played that at their national convention. It's a very anti-USA song. So
The reason why all of this worked and not the way he wanted is that he never counted for the fact that nobody understands what he's saying in that song. Like I've said it before, I've actually done this before on this track, that like on this show, that when you put on the song like, Born in the USA, you understand only the main chorus. You understand Born in the USA. All the rest, he's like, born down in a dead man's town. I was born down in a unit round. Like, you don't know what the fuck he's saying. You just know that when
Yeah.
he leads into the Born in the USA, you know what that is. All the rest of him babbling, you don't know what the fuck he's saying. The later it turns out that he's talking about how he didn't like wars and the Vietnam. I don't know what he's singing about. Nobody gives a
Yeah.
shit. Nobody understands. If they don't understand what you're saying it to yourself. And it's not like today with the internet where you're like, Siri, give me the lyrics to Born in the USA. At the time, people were like, hey, what's Bruce singing? And they're just like, born down in your... Like, then nobody knows what he's singing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same with Fortunate Son. They play that song out of the improper context all the time. But listen, and half of the songs you mentioned, they were popular, but I don't think they're that good. Like Dancing in the Dark, come on, that song is
It's a little bit of 80s
beautiful.
nostalgia. It's not like, again, none of these, maybe Born in the USA, if he at least stuck and was really like a patriot and really this kind of like, I love America type of guy and really embraced that, and he understood that that's what his audience wanted and he was really into that kind of thing, maybe he would have had like more kind of value as this kind of folk hero. But he doesn't even like it. Even when the Republicans would play this song at rallies, he'd be like, they don't even understand the song. I said I hated America. It's like, okay, all right, fine. You know what I mean? And you keep doing that for years and years and years. At the end, it's going to have an effect. I'm not worried about the guy. He has a ton of money. He can do, and maybe that's kind of the thing that these guys like Neil Young or this guy or even like a Jack White, maybe at some point you have enough money and you're just like, fuck it. I'll say whatever I want. If they want to come to my show, they can. If they don't, they don't. Maybe some people can afford to do that. I think it's stupid. I think that if you're a musician, you should always try to bring people together. I'm not like a popular musician. And at this point, I don't think that, if I suddenly became one, it would be easy because I've talked so much on these streams that I don't know, that I could suddenly be this kind of middle of the road. Like I try to be a middle of the road guy, but maybe I couldn't do it anymore. I've said too much weird crap,
Well, the middle of the road's not in the middle anymore. That's really the biggest problem
There's a
we
lot
have.
of issues with that. But let's just say that like if I was like, in my 20s now trying to build a career and I became a musician that people like, I wouldn't want to talk about politics at all. I just want to do my music. You enjoy what, doing what, you enjoying hearing my music. You want to come see a show. Great. I wouldn't do anything else. I don't want to babble. I don't want to lecture people. That's what I would do. This has been a very strange stream.
Yeah.
By the way, there were other things on the docket that I think we completely lost. Like this stream went off the rails.
Did you talk about Colbert yet? That's what I was going to ask you.
There were two things that I wanted to say. One, I was just going to ask if you guys think the war is going to be on for a long time, because it seems like I don't think this thing's going to last forever, but I could be wrong.
I hear they're going to dig a canal to bypass the strait.
That,
I don't know if
that would be kind of awesome, wouldn't it? Like that would really be amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. If
I would love to see it.
That's like stealing somebody's most important geographical feature away from them.
Is it
that would
possible?
be magnificent. Yeah, it's possible. I certainly hope it doesn't last long, but I don't know, man. Like we've heard the same things over and over, but we've never heard them from Trump, and I do believe the guy has the potential to be different than the other politicians. So, like, we have a really bad history of regime change, this country in general. Like, it's never worked out. But then again, kind of Venezuela wasn't the disaster that everybody predicted. So you can only hope for the best. It's not like we have any control over it.
Well, the thing is that, this is just my personal opinion, and it's not any kind of scientific thing. I think with a country like Iran, if you do enough damage, if nothing else, maybe you buy some time. Meaning, it doesn't mean that problem has gone away and you'll never hear about it again. But if you can buy X amount of years of quiet, sometimes that's better than not buying those years of quiet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really
Right.
depends like where the problem is coming from and who's financing it. I know they say, everything originates in Iran, but the money doesn't. Some of the powerful people don't. So it's one of those, the tighter you strengthen your grip, the more systems slip through your fingers kind of thing. I don't know enough to really know.
Elizabeth
My
Quince,
kind
I
of
agree with
layman's
you. I just want to say this. I think she's talking about Alyssa Liu. She had like all this social media where she was saying all this weird crap. She went to protests. I don't know what she did. And leading up to the Olympics, she just went through all of her posts, deleted anything that was like, political or anything like that. Went to do the Olympics, won the medal, stood with the American flag, sang the anthem, never said anything bad about the US, never did anything, and just kind of moved along. Uh, Now, one out of two things happened. Either she got really smart and she understood that, like, all that weird politics stuff nobody cares about. And like you said, she's a young lady. She came to that conclusion without like significant backlash. She just said to herself, you know what? I don't need all this stuff. And she just like decided she's over it and she just wants to represent her country. That I don't think that, we people should also allow, especially a young lady, afford her the option to say, you know what, I don't want to do that. I just want to represent my country. I don't have any issue with that. And I like what you said. Everybody is allowed to grow up. She is a young lady. So don't have any
Yeah.
issue. The thing is, if she does like a weird bait and switch where like soon, like the next like in 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then she like all of her Instagram becomes like Greta Thunberg, that's gonna be kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Speaking of Greta Thunberg, what a weirdo. She always has some weird shit to say, and like she's so selective about the shit that she says. You know what I mean? Nothing matters to her. There's no logic. She's just like she's a paid for. Somebody is funding her. There's she's
Oh,
like a
absolutely. Yeah.
professional activist that gets like funded by the highest bidder. Kind of like unfortunately, kind of like Tucker Carlson as well. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
we have too many people now that you pay them the right price and they go and they say whatever it is that you pay them to say.
Greta Thunberg is the Starfleet Academy of political activists.
She
Nothing
is.
she says fits with what she just said.
Right. I think similarly about like, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly in more recent times. Like these are people that I feel like in the past were more mainstream. They left Fox News. They like went on their own. And I've been giving this thought recently because I understand beyond the fact that I don't agree with what they say and whatever, and I think that they're bought and paid for. But what I'm saying to myself about those guys, we all know what it means to be on YouTube. You know what I mean? Those guys used to be in Fox News. They're getting paid $10-20 million a year. Suddenly they're on their own. Now they open a YouTube account. They go on X. With all due respect, how much money do you think like YouTube and X pay? Do you think they're going to make the same money they did on Fox News? I don't think they are. Do you get what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, I mean, I think actually Megyn Kelly makes quite a lot, and I used to really listen to her and trust her, but over the last year, she has lost that
She
trust
may
from me.
make a lot, but I still don't think she makes the same money that she did before. Plus, what happened is that for whatever reasons, she's going where the clicks are. She sees there's more
Yeah,
things. She just says this, I get more clicks. Also, I wouldn't put it beside either of those people that, if the right person comes along with the right check and the right money, uh, it doesn't matter. Even if, let's say, she made decent money on YouTube, if somebody comes along with a check for like says, hey, I'll pay you $20 million a year if you can just say that this and this and this is happening. Can you do that? It could be worth it for
yeah,
somebody. Maybe a country of
yeah,
sorts. It could be
yeah,
worth it to them to cut them. What's cutting these guys a $20 million check? Nothing. They're just like,
yeah, yeah.
you can go back
Uh,
to your Fox News glory days. Here's $20 million. Just can say, here's a piece of
well,
paper, say all of this shit.
I love what Bill Maher said. He says the day ISIS opens up a streaming service, everybody in Hollywood will be lined up for a job. Like they don't care. It's
I think that Ricky Gervais said it, but yeah.
okay. Yeah. Sorry. Who did I say? Bill Maher? Oh,
Bill
booming.
Maher. I'm sure Bill
Yeah.
Maher said some interesting things, but I think in that case it was Ricky Gervais and his thing that he's like, "Oh, you hypocrites! If ISIS or whatever tomorrow, like you're all going to be lined up."
Yeah.
That's part of his like monologue at the Golden Globes, and it's 100% true. And that's what I feel mainly happened to like Tucker and Megyn Kelly that suddenly have these like they're
Yeah. No,
saying
I think
They're
you're
saying
right.
things that are opposite than what they used to say. Like Megyn Kelly,
Yeah.
like half a year ago, you look at all of her posts and all of her things, she's saying the exact opposite of what she's saying now. Somebody that just goes 180 degrees all of a sudden, usually like it's a strange occurrence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. The one guy I trust online who's been consistent over the last 30 years, and I just like him because he's funny. I enjoy listening to him. And he's sort of middle of the road, common sense, practical guy is Adam Carolla. Like, that's who I like to listen to. But, he's still mostly a comedian. It's not like you go there to get the news.
Yeah. Somebody's saying special investors. Sometimes you have investors. Sometimes you may have a sponsor, and I think that a lot of I've not really thoroughly investigated this, but I'm saying like if it turned out, sometimes you have these people like they promote some vitamin. What if those vitamin companies belong to investors, through
Oh,
different
yeah.
shell corporations? They end up that some certain country invested in those vitamins. And then, whoever it is, it doesn't even matter if it's Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson, whoever does it, has certain opinions. And then they're like, oh, and this show is funded by vitamin whatever. And you're thinking, oh, it's just some vitamins. That vitamin company, they may have cut them in order for this all to be sort of above board, maybe somebody gave them like $1 million, from a certain company that's owned by certain people of those vitamins. And now you got the sponsorship. Can you also say X, Y, and Z?
That's so, boys and girls, in short, if you're ever listening to Price of Reason and he suddenly goes on about how great his Raycon earbuds are, just be aware.
Listen, I'm fine with like reading. I'm not on that level. I'm on the level that maybe somebody will say, "Hey, like we'll give you $100 if you read this ad," and I'm not. I don't even know if I'm on that level, but I'm just saying, like maybe one day somebody will show up and do that. There was actually a few times that a company had reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you talk about this thing?" And I was offered something that, like, again, is not is something like rather minimal. Now, on one hand, I don't make like a ton of money from, my online activities. So it would be appealing for somebody like me, and they probably knew that offering that to me. But the thing is, I also don't want to, in some occasions I may do it for whatever reasons, but the things that were offered to me, a few things I decided I didn't want to do it. I'm not saying I'll never do it. I'm not saying I'll never at the end you want to pay a few bills. If somebody does it, and offers something and I think it's something decent, I'll maybe do it, but I don't love, I don't love it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a good lesson. Kind of like you always have to follow the money. Unfortunately, things are structured in a way that makes it very difficult. Like you said, you've got shell companies within shell companies with subsidiaries, and even the people that are getting paid don't always ultimately know where the money's coming from. They're just giving a very specific or maybe some vague set of instructions and a big check. And, Corolla does sponsorships, but they're really pedestrian. And you can tell the lack of enthusiasm when he does the ad reads. He's just like, go buy this thing. I know you've heard of this thing. I've heard of this thing. Go buy it. Like that's, so it's almost like he can get away with it.
Yeah, he does read a lot of like vitamin stuff. Professor Ardu Cuba may fall too. Corolla is a good dude. Yeah, he seems cool. It's funny how they were both on the Man Show, Corolla and Jimmy Kimmel, and how
Yeah.
different their careers ended up. Whereas Adam Carolla seems like a pretty based and decent guy, just talking about whatever, and Jimmy Kimmel went full on, like
No, but they were always like that. That's the thing. They're still friends. They're best friends. And the funny thing is that Jimmy has no problem, maintaining his friendship with Corolla, although his wife might have some issues with that. He says Jimmy was always like that. He was always a woman. Basically, that's, he was always crying. He was always like, what about the children? So he's like, I don't know. But from what he says, he's like, they really haven't changed. That's who they always have been.
That's interesting. I've heard that before. CC Karaoke has to step away. He's shutting down for the night. CC, thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate it that you joined us. It's nice
Yeah.
seeing you here from time to time. You're one of those kind of guests that pops in here and there, much like as to
I always
Phobos.
always appreciate the invite. I've been really really sick the last couple of weeks,
Oh,
so
I'm
it's been
sorry to
tough for
hear
me to
that.
get on. But thanks for having me here tonight. Just yeah, at some point I got to sleep because my body's just like sleep.
No problem, man. You go
So
to sleep. You do whatever you do. I understand that.
Hey
all
man,
right, have yourself a
good
great
to
rest of the show.
have a good night. Good to stream with you. Go imagine your favorite Pearl Jam album as you gentle away
I
into slumber.
I'm
actually
riding
haven't
on a
listened to Pearl Jam in about a
motorbike.
year.
Is that a song on No
After the
Code?
whole business last year, I kind of just I couldn't anymore.
Is that a song
Listen,
on No Code that I'm
which
riding
one?
on a motorbike?
Yeah, that's no code.
That's the worst song Pearl Jam has ever recorded.
Yeah, I found it relatable.
You would like to ride on a motorbike?
I did for a while.
All
I
right,
liked
man.
it
I don't
longer.
want to spoil your fun. If you like it, it's not nice that I keep ripping on this album that you like so much. But it's funny because the very album that you love the most from Pearl Jam is the one that I dislike the most, and I struggle with this. Like I said, it keeps me up at night, but I want you to go rest, CC, because your health is more important.
All right.
Yeah. Good night,
All right,
man.
Take care.
A friend of mine dragged me to this concert in this little really grungy venue. And he's like, I'm like, who are these? He's like, just come. It was like $3.50. And it was Pearl Jam before 10 came out and they were playing their song. I'm like the best stuff I've ever seen. Holy crap. Like,
nice.
and then I had a friend who was really good at spotting the bands that were going to be famous. I saw Nirvana when they were playing small clubs, Soundgarden, Primus, and Fishbone. So I got to see a lot of those guys before anybody knew who they were. And man, they had some amazing shows back in the day.
Yeah, no, those grunge had a little bit of a period of time that it was really something special. I am happy that in my lifetime I was able to be in a place where I could hear these good songs. People don't realize we really had it. Had it. It was really something special. If you weren't there, it's
Professor's back! Yay!
Hey, Professor R2, what's going on?
Well, you've never seen me and CC in the same place, so maybe. Yeah.
Wait, I thought you were supposed to be that other guy. What is it? Douche-coccus strepto or whatever?
Douchey shit stream or something. Somebody on the Robot Head stream was like, "Oh, like, are you sure like Professor R2 isn't this other streamer?" And we didn't. I don't even know who that streamer was.
I've been accused of being Wookiee Fever before. Which I will admit, I've listened to some of his streams, and I can see why people our voices are similar. But yeah,
what was the one, Ista? What was the one that they said on that show?
I don't remember what. Like I said, Douche-coccus Melvi. I don't remember. I actually wasn't familiar with the name. But what's funny is that if I didn't know better, like half the time I'm on Twitter, I'm like, wait, did I write this? Oh no, it was Professor. Like I seem to we'll often be in chat and we'll be completely simpatico in what we're saying. So, but we're two different people because we're here.
Well, it's good that you came back, Professor, because there's one topic that we didn't really cover. There was something today that I saw that Stephen Colbert, I think that there was an article that was more like mainstream media that they were kind of criticizing him, and it was surprising. Did you happen to catch that?
No. Like entertainment media, like criticizing it?
Like the most mainstream of mainstream that you could ever think of. Let me see if I can find
Variety.
it.
Variety.
It was MSM and Variety and THR, right?
Variety turns on Stephen Colbert. Long Late Show goodbye has gone from resistance to ego trip.
Okay. Earlier this week, the actor John Lithgow appeared on The Late Show, blah, 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 he paid extensive tribute to the host. they're saying that, oh, it's like because of Trump. I don't know what, the mighty Colbert. They're all like kissing his ass and blah blah blah. I mean, and they're saying that like at this point in his lame duck tenure, Colbert is likely accustomed to endless fawning from his guests, and then all this other stuff. I'm trying to see if there's anything of substance here. So they're saying, oh, he was anti-Trump and he was removed and blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
Let's see.
It reminds me of, you remember when Johnny Carson was headed out. He had a bunch of people that were coming on and giving tributes to him and stuff. And later on it was who was it? Bette Midler came on and sang some like a changed version of Wind Beneath My Wings or something, like, kissing his ass and stuff. But here's the thing. He was on TV for what, 40 years or something?
Okay.
Like how long was he running that show? I don't remember, but it was a really long time.
Yeah,
And he was loved by people on from every different direction of politics. Like, he was beloved. Like, he was the Tonight Show. He was the show that people watched at night. I mean, there were other competitors, but he was the one that they watched. Like, he was an absolute legend by the time he retired. I'm sorry, but Stephen Colbert is not a legend, okay?
No.
And the only thing that they have is to say, well, I remember reading part of this. He said there's part of what Lithgow was saying, oh, you didn't kiss the orange ass or whatever. Like, literally the thing they think that's awesome about him is that, oh, he stood up to Trump. Like, shut up. Like, every lefty out there, like, gave Trump the finger. There's nothing special about him for doing that.
No,
Yeah, and we never called it the Tonight Show. It was always, are you going to watch Johnny Carson?
Are you going to watch
It's
Johnny
Carson.
Carson
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the problem. Johnny Carson is, in my opinion, to this day, pretty much the GOAT. Okay?
Oh,
Even
absolutely.
if you watch like old clips of Johnny Carson, the way he manages his show, the way he the atmosphere he creates, I'm going to say something very strange. You know how we sit here and we talk and we hang out kind of in a live stream setting that's a little more relaxed? I think that Johnny Carson had that vibe when he interviewed his guests a lot more than, let's say, Jay Leno that came after him, a lot more than Jimmy Fallon does, a lot more than Colbert. It didn't feel as choreographed. You know what I mean? There were moments of like just spontaneity and these kind of conversations between people that were like colleagues and sometimes friends that felt, I'm not saying that there was never any kind of choreography or production involved in it, but a lot of times I felt that Johnny Carson had this kind of putting his guests at ease and having kind of these quick, witty responses to things that were not scripted for sure, and these conversations that felt a little more organic. I actually think that he was really good at that, and he created this fun feeling that no matter what was happening politically, what was going on in the country, if you're sitting around and watching Johnny Carson and his guests, they're there, and you're going to get a few laughs out of them, and it's going to be about talking about life and about things that are like everyday stuff. It's not just going to be about them lecturing you about politics. And Johnny Carson, being for so many decades establishing what like late night could be and what a late night host could and should be, deserved every one of those compliments. Not only that, I believe that all the people that came towards the end to tell Johnny Carson that he was such a legend, they meant it. You know what I mean? Like, there's people's careers that were launched thanks to this man. You know what I mean? Like, being on his show like meant everything in entertainment. So I do think that was more organic. With Stephen Colbert, it's the opposite. He's ruined late night. He's the one that like paved the way for late night to be just a bunch of political talk of people talking about politics, the very like antithesis of what Johnny Carson was and what he stood for. Is like he just wants to lecture about politics all day. It turned into a show like you're watching CNN. No jokes, nothing is funny. He just whines and lectures all the time. And for these people to come in there, like similarly to Johnny Carson, when it seems very choreographed, as this article states, and they're just there to tell him what a national treasure he is because he stood up to, Trump or whatever it is, nobody cares about that shit. His show is canceled. I've never seen somebody take such a whiny, strange, copy victory lap from being fired. They let you. They could have fired you and just said, "Get the fuck out of the building now," which is what they should have done. Instead, they're like, "Fine, we'll let him finish his tenure, and then he'll finish his contract and leave." I think that that's more trouble than it's worth. They should have just had security escort him out.
Yeah, they didn't even fire him. They canceled the show. It was losing $60 million a year. Like, they're not responsible for making sure he gets paid, multiple millions at the loss of shareholder value. That's it. They didn't fire him and replace him. They canceled the show. When they end a show like Stargate, nobody said they fired, nobody said they fired Amanda Tapping or, whoever. The way they are presenting it is disingenuous in the beginning.
Yeah. So I understand what this article is trying to say. I'm surprised that it's saying it because it's like these articles love Colbert. So I wonder where this all came from. Like, I have to wonder how like this popped up suddenly. But
well, Variety doesn't print it unless ABC Disney tells them to print it. So.
Yeah, they only speak up about it if somebody tells them to, because they're those all of those rags are bought and paid for.
Yes, they're the official studio mouthpieces.
Yeah.
So
maybe what happened is that Paramount, who got rid of him, are sick of his stupid crap. Don't forget that probably Paramount said, "We'll let him finish his contract. He could do it in a nice way. He could step away. We'll all be very nice and we'll be amicable." But what's he been doing? Whining and whining, and it's all about, they would have kept you more if not for Trump. And they probably hear this and they're thinking to themselves, like, the audacity of this guy. We could have just let him go and we kept him here, and like all he does is just rip on us every second. The truth is, and this is, there's the real truth is, if this show was making a gazillion dollars for them, even if it's like Ellison or whatever, maybe you'd consider keeping it. But the show cost a ton of money to make. It's a format that like doesn't really work anymore anyways. And some of the reason it doesn't work is because Colbert himself ruined late night, in my opinion. And some of it is because the landscape has changed and people prefer hearing some people, streaming or whatever it is, and just don't feel like listening to this kind of, crap the way Colbert does it. And he doesn't really give them a reason to listen to his show.
Yeah, I mean, Gutfeld's ratings keep going up, so somebody's clearly watching, and his ratings keep going down. So like the more he's a whiny bitch about it, the fewer people are bothering to tune in.
I've also this other thing, and this is with Stephen Colbert and Kimmel, that I'll say. I've never seen two people so whiny about losing jobs that pay them probably like $10, $20 million a year. If I was ever paid like $10 to $20 million a year, and let's say I did that for like, 10 years, and somebody said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to go in a different direction now. Thanks for working with us." I would say, "Thank you for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure doing this thing." And I'd take like, all the money that I made and I'd say, "Okay, well, this is a nice stash that I made here. Why don't I go and take a break now? I'll go to a tropical island. I'll say bye to everybody and shake everybody's hand and leave." Like, why do I need to be all bitter? It's never a good look, just so you know. And especially these kind of like elitists that make like this kind of money, that they're such whiny losers. You know what I mean?
If I had that job for a month, I would be on my knees with gratitude.
Right. I mean,
I never have to work again. God bless you. Thanks.
Right, exactly. Like if we worked for like a month in their conditions and then like, they fired us after a month and we just walked away with like, $2 million, that would be fantastic. And I would never think, even if they after a month, they'd say, "Listen, we tried here and we didn't like what you did. Here's the check for $2 million. We think you're a loser and we hate you and you're the worst thing that ever happened. Take your $2 million and leave." I'd say, "Thank you for the opportunity, gentlemen."
Yeah. Oh,
See you guys later. Going to the
I've said
bank
multiple
now with my
times,
$2 million check.
I've said multiple times, if anybody needs a CEO to come in and slash budgets, fire tons of people, have everyone pissed at them, and then leave with a golden parachute of $16 million after 2 years, I am up for it. Right? You bring me in. I'm happy to do it. I'll come in. I'll cut things to the bone. I'll do whatever the board wants me to do. And I'll take that golden parachute at the end, and you'll never see me again. It'll be fine.
Yeah, or if they need somebody to run the elevators at Lucasfilm, I'll do it for free. So we'll price.
For sure. Tell some jokes. I just want to try to find this thing that they said about Professor. Oh wait, we have another super chat.
Okay.
Was it if it was Dudicus Trogdor? I found a streamer called Dudicus Trogdor. That sounds nothing like me. I don't know why anyone would think that was me. But he doesn't have a very big following either.
Let me first of all share, because there was a super chat.
Oh, the Mark Ruffalo one?
Mark Ruffalo, this is from Jason Webster, another $5. Breaking news, Mark Ruffalo is convalescing after he was attacked by ostriches at LA Zoo. One eyewitness said, well, he ruffled a few feathers. I think that he would already be doing like a rally against ostriches right now if like that happened. He'd blame Trump for it. He'd be like, that's what happens when you elect this weird guy.
It's all the ostriches are all his fault.
Yeah, really, it's the lack of good faith and the sheer disingenuousness. That's what really bugs me. Otherwise, talk about what you want. You can oppose Trump at every turn, but tell me why. What's really happening? Don't give me some vague bullshit.
You don't have to sound like a weirdo saying your opinion. You can just say, I don't like this. I don't like. You could talk like an adult, you know?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, so it's not really what they're talking about. It's how they're doing it, why, and to whom they are lecturing. And so, you know, that's why I can't wait for you guys to watch the Netflix show. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but it's so lacking in any kind of message. It was so refreshing and fun to watch.
This is the Robo Predator.
Yeah,
one?
War Machine. Yeah, yeah. It's just good, clean fun. And I swear to God, man, that guy, like, he's so big. Like, even his steroids are taking steroids, man. Like,
I'm trying to find this. Give me a second. Keep talking for a second. I'm going to try to find it.
Yeah, I thought it was Dudicus. I looked that up, and it's like, why would it? I don't know.
Okay, I found the comment.
Okay.
And now let me find. I'm going to put up this thing. I'm going to find exactly what this is. This is the guy they said that sounds like Professor R2. He has 677,000 subscribers. It's funny how sometimes there's a guy like that, and I never even heard of him. But let's see. This is apparently the guy. Are you ready, Professor?
Sure.
I don't even see no new videos from this guy. The last time he made a video was like 8 years ago. That's so strange.
Well, you know, I mean, some people pass away and there's like nobody to shut down their channel, you know, if you
I don't know that he did. Maybe he's just, you know.
Yeah, that's happened more than a few times.
Let's see what this said.
Gary's Mod Animations. Okay.
Making this video. 2 years is a long time to be away when it comes to YouTube, and to be silent for that whole duration can leave a lot of people feeling confused, concerned, and even a little betrayed in some cases.
I don't know if it sounded exactly the Professor.
I can get why you can say
when
similar,
it comes to
but
taking on extra projects after.
I would never mistake those two.
Something, but it wasn't. I was expecting something more than this.
Yeah, I would never mistake the two, but I see some similarities in cadence and timbre, but I would never mistake those two.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Well, I guess we've covered all of the topics that we wanted to cover today, including very strange conversations that went in a lot of different directions. And of course, I'm always grateful for not only the wonderful audience we have here that tunes in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern on the Night Owl. I also always grateful to have Professor R2, co-host of the show, and our guest, Isophobos, here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me.
Oh, absolutely no problem. It's always fun, man. I'll always make it here when I can.
And also, if you're listening, whether you're on Rumble and you maybe haven't signed up and you want to sign up and then follow us there, then you can always get updated when we're doing our streams. If you're on YouTube, you may have gotten here from a link from one of my other social media accounts. And some people don't realize this isn't there. I have another channel that does more reviews on YouTube. This one is one more for live streams. So if you haven't subscribed to this one, make sure you do, because this is, has a different kind of format. It's more relaxed. It also has some bonus content and reviews. So you should like this, like that. And also on X, you should follow Istophobos and Professor R2. Let me try to share those links. So I don't do that often enough. I always forget.
I'm the same name everywhere. So if you think of a service and you just use Istophobos, you're going to find me. So if I'm on it.
That was Professor R2, and now I'll do Istophobos. I won't do Istophobos. You understand it's a late hour. I know how that sounded.
He's going to take it out.
Not what it sounds
next
like.
to the bathroom. He's going to take it out.
It's not what you think.
He's going to take it out, but it's not what you think.
Istophobos. Let's see if I can find it. I actually couldn't find Istophobos for some reason.
I just sent you a DM. You can't follow it up from that?
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see.
Adam's tossing some links in the chat for us as well. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
And yes, of course, since he's throwing those links and Price is busy doing something else, I'll pitch B-Sides.
Yes.
Come and hang out with us tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central. A lot of fun. We're going to watch, I think it's Vincent Price movie tomorrow night. And celebrating, I think like Women's Month or something. Unfortunately, a lot of the women end up dead in these movies, but it's all the same. Yeah. It's
one of the very,
at least it's not Black History Month anymore.
Yeah. One of the very first B-sides I was listening to while I was doing late night grocery shopping. I was coming out with my cart, I was listening to my phone, the headphones. And that's the first time I think you guys played the NASA thing. I was laughing so hard, I let go of my cart and it fell all the way down the hill filled with groceries. And I had to go run and chase it while NASA was still playing. And I was laughing my ass off. It was the funniest, most surreal experience.
The blackout.
Yeah. Well, it's cold.
It's cold.
So fucking cold.
I shared some links here, and you should definitely check it out. And also, B-roll stage, you should check that out as well. And I guess now is a good time for us to wrap up this show.
Yeah, it's Adam said it's sandwich month.
Oh wait! Oh yeah, sorry.
You're
right, bro. I have to say goodbye to people. Sorry.
You do need to say goodbye to some people.
Yes, on Rumble we have Skyfire, Phantom Monk, Elizabeth Quince, Angelo DD, Kivo 1961, Born to Be Down, Some Late Guy, Long Island 90. Thanks for the super chat. We have I think Kivo 1961 sent a super chat. I'm already tired. I think he did. Sal the Hamster, Double R Star, Dude Bro Seth 420.
Yeah, and on Rumble we got a super chat from or a Rumble rant from Some Late Guy, Long Island 90, and we also got one from Born to Be Down. So
Born to Be Down. Thank you for correcting me. I'm so sorry. Born to Be Down.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I just
thank you for the
scrolled back
for
a
the
bit
Rumble
there.
rant.
Yeah, so over on YouTube we had joining us this evening in the chat, Mooley Porchers, Not Z3PO, Badfoot, Zunar J5, Captain Zoom, FKHC 2005, Karate Werewolf, Shadow Piglet, iLord Corey, David Costin, The Real Head Case, Inku, Fishbulb 6, Keely Chow. Let's see, Giant Sabo 9152. Was it Gary George? I don't remember. It's all the Hebrew characters. Glade Riven, Robot Head, CC Karaoke, Kodo Rob, Yitis, Murrockstro, Michelle Fairy Tales, John Davidson, Phantom Outsider, Sturgeon 510, Marla Sherendorf, Tomahawk 511, Whalem 03, Strugun, Istophobos, Adam Gray, Dustin D2 Smiths Fall Bears fan. That's a mouthful. And Jason Webster. So thank you all this evening for joining us. Yeah. Yes, lots of wonderful super chats. Tonight we got Jason Webster with 3 super chats, $15 Australian for those. So thank you very much.
Wait, but Robot says those aren't worth any money.
Buy you a pack of gum. Maybe, I don't know.
Not a pack of cigarettes, though. That's
Not
for
a pack
sure.
of cigarettes.
Oh my
That's for
God.
damn sure, yeah.
I still don't believe that. That's insane, man.
Insane. It costs like $50 or $60 to buy cigarettes there. Absolutely
Yeah.
wild.
That's an expensive place to be an alcoholic too. Like,
Absolutely. So,
It's
Yeah.
so disappointing because it seems like that would be a great place to be an alcoholic. Australia?
yeah.
Man.
that's exactly, that's where you want to be, the alcoholic.
Yeah, well, it explains why we have so many from there because they had to move to where the booze was cheaper and the cigarettes because you don't see many alcoholics who don't smoke. There are some, but in general, that's not the case.
They have
Well,
all the vices.
I think that we've done the best we could here, and we'll see you all here. Today was Thursday, so we'll see you all here on Tuesday at 11:45 p.m.
Sure enough. Night.
Bye.